Someone inquires whether the ambulance has shown up yet. Another person responds that they made the call, but it hasn't arrived. At last, his streak of good fortune came to an end. His existence was riddled with bad luck. No matter how hard he tried, he always ended up failing, a life devoid of expectations. If he were to be reborn, he wouldn't claim that happiness is what he desires. What he truly seeks is a mundane life, not one lacking in purpose, a simple existence where he can contribute positively. In a different time and place, someone informs Leah that she has given birth to a healthy baby boy. Leah joyfully announces that she is finally meeting her son, Siegbert. The protagonist contemplates his reincarnation, but this time as an infant. A brief overview of what transpired after his previous life concluded he found himself in a void. A figure approached him, expressing gratitude for his participation in life, introducing himself as the guardian of life and death. He then mentions that the protagonist's life was filled with unfortunate incidents. Ultimately, he met his end, crushed by beams at a construction site, but there's no need for concern. From that point, he would be reborn in an entirely new realm, gaining numerous advantages because he is unique. Initially, the protagonist will retain all memories from his former life and quickly learn the language of this new world. The protagonist feels bewildered. The boy adds that there's one more detail. He will possess a magnificent power, the evaluating eyes. The protagonist is puzzled by the concept of these evaluating eyes. The boy clarifies that these eyes can assess and judge what he observes, but his situation is unique. He'll realize it when he activates the ability. Finally, he expresses gratitude for the explanation and states they have reached the concluding segment. It's the lottery for reincarnation. Perplexed, the protagonist muses that he sought an explanation about this world, yet it seems he has little choice but to comply. He draws a ball, and a golden one rolls onto a tray. Then he becomes confused, questioning if that's a good sign, and the boy assures him he is quite fortunate. With a snap of his fingers, the boy insists they shouldn't linger. A hole opens beneath the protagonist. He plummets into a vast chasm that appears endless. Looking down at him, the boy wishes him a wonderful new life. That boy's smile becomes the final memory of his past existence. In the present, Leah cradles Siegbert in her arms. She notices the baby's eyes opening wider and asks if he recognizes his mother's face. Siegbert realizes he can clearly see it, his new mother's face. A man approaches, commenting on the baby's health. A maid warns Gilbert to be cautious, as the baby's neck is still delicate. Siegbert thinks about wanting to learn who he is and what kind of world this is, but being a baby, he can't talk or walk. Observing the attire of those around him, it's evident this is a different realm. However, the Guardian had mentioned magic and that he would receive a special benefit, the evaluating eyes, which can assess and judge what he perceives. Perhaps he can uncover something with this ability, so he decides to give it a shot. The Guardian didn't even clarify how to utilize the ability since he can't speak. Maybe he needs to sense it and invoke the evaluating gaze. Quickly, Siegbert manages to activate his unique ability. A system window appears before him, displaying various details about his level, power, and magic. There, he views his personal statistics. It almost feels like he's in a game. Siegbert thinks it's pretty amazing to have access to all that information. His luck is rated at 200, which is somewhat low, but he had terrible luck in his previous life. His other abilities are also quite minimal. Someone enters the room searching for Siegbert. It's Maria and Theovolt. The maid Anna requests they avoid making a mess, as both the baby and Leah need to rest. Maria apologizes for her earlier carelessness. She got overly excited to meet Sieg. Theo Waltz admits he experienced the same. Leah smiles and invites them to come closer. Maria expresses her gratitude to her mother. Then Maria approaches the bed, commenting that Sieg is incredibly cute. Theovolt observes that he has silver hair and purple eyes just like his mother. Siegbert feels anxious. The sight of towering figures approaching him is terrifying. He seizes Theovolt's finger, catching him off guard. Maria, bubbling with excitement, insists she wants him to hold her hand too and asks them both to hush. Maria declares she will look after Siegbert from now on. Theovolt chimes in, saying he wants to play with him as well. With sparkling eyes, Maria exclaims he resembles a doll and dreams of dressing him in adorable outfits. Theovolt reminds her that Sieg is a boy. He adds that Sieg probably won't appreciate that. Maria questions why, insisting he will. She wonders what he might do if his sisters start treating him poorly, threatening to cry. Noticing this, Maria apologizes for being too loud and gently pets his head. She mentions that as he grows older, they will explore many places together as a family and create beautiful memories. With a smile, Maria expresses her love for Seg and thanks him for being born. The baby gazes at her with an irresistibly cute expression. Leah expresses her happiness that the girls are with Sieg. Gilbert concurs. Sieg observes that his new family feels incredibly warm. It's hard to believe, especially after his previous misfortunes. He realizes he feels thankful for being born into this family. Leah mentions the initial evaluation is scheduled for tomorrow and wonders if they should ask Willie to handle it. Gilbert agrees, stating he doesn't trust the other evaluators after what transpired with Gelda. Leah smiles, saying if it's Willie, everything will go smoothly. Maria gets thrilled and asks if Uncle Willibald will meet them. They ponder whether their uncle is working far away. He's a remarkable knight, always on the move, but currently, he's off the continent on a mission. Concerned, Theovolt asks if Sieg truly has to undergo the initial evaluation. She's worried the same fate as Geld might befall him. Sieg senses a shift in the atmosphere. Maria explains that Geld is the baby's other brother, but he's not present. He's at the magic school. Gilbert clarifies that the initial evaluation is a procedure for those born into nobility, designed to identify abilities and guide training. Theovolt tenses up, questioning what they'll do if Sieg possesses high magical abilities. Geld had to attend magic school at just 5 because of that. They claim it's for the individual's development, but most never return. Geld didn't want to leave his mother and cried endlessly. Gilbert states seriously that this occurred because the evaluator disclosed his son's attributes. Geld was a unique child, and Gilbert still regrets not having shielded him. This time, however, he vows to protect Siegbert. Listening to the conversation, Siegbert begins to fret about children with advanced magical powers being sent to magic school. This troubles him since he possesses advanced magical power. If that occurs, his family will be heartbroken and he'll have to study alone. Siegbert wonders if his bad luck follows him even here. At night, Anna lays Siegbert down in the crib. The MC opens his system window, realizing he can't delete his abilities. He must address this issue or face complications. If caught, he might not just be confined to the school. Worse, they could use him for human experiments. Siegbert grows anxious. Even the nanny suspects something unusual about him. The boy needs assistance. Suddenly, a one-eyed creature appears, asking if Sieg summoned it. The baby is terrified, asking what the creature is. It introduces itself as the explanation system, here to assist him and answer his queries. It will clarify the things he observes but doesn't comprehend. That evaluating eyes processor can only gauge abilities up to a certain threshold. However, only special masters possess unique eyes that can perceive all kinds of information and details. Regardless, if he wishes to know how to select his status, it suggests the hiding ability. It's a skill that enables him to conceal his status. Sheik inquires how to utilize it, but he lacks the ability for now, so he can't use it. The boy asks how he can acquire it. The little creature explains that learning the ability independently in such a short time is impossible. However, the boy possesses the blessing of reincarnation valued at 1,000 points. Sieg reflects that the Guardian granted him that. By using those points, he can acquire useful abilities for this world. With 1,000 points, he can obtain the hiding skill. Siegbert feels thrilled and grateful to the Guardian, requesting to spend the 1,000 points. The creature warns that it's a significant amount, and he can only use them once. The boy realizes it's somewhat wasteful, but he doesn't mind. Right now, his main concern is to remain with the family that seems to care for him deeply. The little creature ponders and acknowledges it understands what its master means. The following day, Gilbert greets Willibald. Gilbert remarks that Willibald is quite popular among all the maids in the house, yet he claims it doesn't matter to him. Leah lights up at the sight of Willibald coming closer. As soon as he spots her, the man greets her warmly. Willibald praises Leah, prompting Gilbert to grumble about excessive flattery. Leah chuckles, expressing her genuine excitement. Willibald scoops up Sieg, announcing it's time for introductions. He inquires if the baby feels anxious, introducing himself as the uncle. Gazing at Sietber, Willibald remarks on the boy's cuteness, just like his mother. A shame he's a boy. Gilbert agrees, noting Sieg will look fantastic in his new clothes. Leah beams, thrilled he shares her hair and eyes. Quite a rarity. Willibald declares he'll use his assessing gaze on the baby, urging him to stay calm. Siegbert hopes his ability truly works as the man channels his power to evaluate him. He studies the boy intently for a brief moment. Then he appears satisfied. Siegbert wonders if that's a bad sign. Gilbert asks Willibald if there's any indication of sacred power. The man assures him of the child's abundant potential. However, he lacks advanced traits. Gilbert takes note of this seriously. Siegbert feels a wave of relief. Everything seems to be unfolding as planned. The night before, he and his assistant decided to conceal only 5 abilities, removing the rare ones. Willibald mentions that Sieg also possesses resistance to dark magic and potions, inheriting Leia's traits. She beams with excitement. Gilbert is overjoyed, embracing his wife. He remarks that with such resilience, Sieg will grow up strong and healthy. Filled with excitement, Sieg thinks he didn't hide any resistance powers, wanting to make his mother proud. With a smile, Willibald states that with Sieg's status, he'll be exceptional. That area might not align with his expectations, but in his previous life, luck was never on his side. Suddenly, a magical glow radiates from Sieg, capturing everyone's attention. Willibald is taken aback. Gilbert asks him what's happening. Willibald then suggests that Sieg might be extraordinarily fortunate. Gilbert immediately panics. Baby Sieg is startled. Things are getting bizarre. When using the evaluating gaze, a person's luck manifests as wings. This is the largest he's ever seen. He thought they were just fairy tales. Sieg is terrified. In his past life, he was plagued by misfortune. Willibald notes he can't even commend the wings of fortune. That level of magic surpasses his own birthright. He cautions his brother that such extraordinary talent must remain hidden, otherwise the Minister of Magic will come after him. Siegbert begins to fret. This was unexpected. He doesn't want his family to endure trauma. He ponders what lies ahead. Siegbert questions how 200 could signify such immense luck. Willibald explains that it's possible God bestowed his love upon Sieg. The fortunate are rare and enigmatic. The Minister of Magic would undoubtedly exploit Sieg for experimentation. Gilbert starts to panic. Siegbert grows anxious. He never wanted such memories for his family. Leia expresses her joy in becoming the mother of such an extraordinary child. Gilbert attempts to speak, but Leia interrupts, insisting the child is remarkable. And that's precisely why they must safeguard him. Gilbert feels uneasy about this unexpected demand. He steps closer to Leia, assuring her there's no need to worry. They will protect Siegbert. Leia beams with happiness. The baby looks bewildered. Gilbert inquires about announcing the evaluation results, to which Willibald replies they can only disclose the magical aspects for now. Typically, revealing the initial evaluation results is merely a display of prestige. The man asks if it's acceptable to keep some details hidden. Willibald confirms, stating many nobles don't reveal their magical abilities. Willibald reassures his brother not to fret. No one will question what a respected knight declares. Gilbert hopes he's correct. Regardless, Gilbert warns that with so many abilities, the minister will take action. Willibald counters that the numbers mirror his own from childhood. Sieg senses the oppressive mood starting to fade, and it brings him relief. Leia insists they keep Sieg's talents a secret among the 3 of them. Willibald interjects, clarifying it's actually 5 of them. Gilbert appears puzzled. Willibald grins, acknowledging the presence of the other 2. Maria and Theovolt are eavesdropping just behind the door. Gilbert is taken aback by their secretive listening. Willibald inquires if they've been there the whole time, warning that overhearing adult talks isn't wise. Maria takes the blame, claiming Theovolt only followed her, but the boy counters that it was her idea. Willibald reassures them he's not upset. The girls were merely concerned for Siegbert. Maria looks down, mentioning that the magic schoolteacher is eager for another special student and wanted to persuade them not to abandon Sieg. Leia agrees, telling them not to fret because their father will keep them safe. Siegbert feels a wave of emotion from the love of his siblings. Willibald states that since they overheard everything, they must keep it to themselves. Absolutely no one should know about any of this. The children nod, visibly anxious. Sieg notices that his uncle Willibald has an intimidating presence. Willibald glances at Gilbert, remarking on how he has 2 very well-behaved kids. Gilbert stands proudly beside his children, expressing his pride in both of them. With his uncle's assistance, only Sieg's magical abilities were made public, and the Minister of Magic didn't pursue him. The boy could only express gratitude after all his past misfortunes. Now he considers himself fortunate. Months later, Sieg is taken aback by his helper. It appears all his previous misfortunes might have been a misunderstanding. His luck had been unusually poor. His demise in his past life was undoubtedly due to his bad luck, but now he's been compensated and reborn to rectify that. The creature explains it's unclear if it was a mistake or intentional, but he's now special to make amends. Seg grows frustrated with the Guardian. He then asks the Helper if he's always been lucky and if that still applies to him. The Helper confirms and makes a sound. Siegbert's remarks that the little creature calls itself a helper, yet it seems to have a bit of an ego. The creature then inquires about the stack of books, and Sig explains they are about elemental magic. Anna wonders why the baby is so fascinated by magic books, but they're the only thing keeping him calm. Once the nanny departs, he seizes the opportunity to study magic. The helper states, "Over the past few months, he's learned a great deal about magic. There are 12 magical elements. To wield magic, one must possess that element. Luckily, Sieg has them all." The strength of magic relies on the user. However, the key aspect of magic in that realm is visualization. If he can only vaguely picture it, the magic won't activate. The clearer the image, the more effective the spell. That's why magic is distinct for each individual. On that day, he decides to attempt a low-level spell, a light spell. This spell can illuminate the darkness. First, he must let the magic flow through him, creating a warm sensation. Then, he envisions streets aglow with fireflies from his previous life. Suddenly, several luminous dots materialize. Sieg is thrilled it worked and reaches out toward the lights. It feels surreal. The boy is bubbling with excitement. He then attempts to conjure more light. To do this, he visualizes glowing orbs from his past. In an instant, a burst of light erupts. Sig is astonished. He must remember he possesses more magical power than most, so he needs to exercise caution. There's still much training ahead. Someone enters the room looking puzzled. It's Gilbert, who spots Siegbert there. Then he's taken aback that all that light originated from his son. Siegust is startled. Anna inquires about Leah's feelings, and Leah replies that she feels at peace. Leah gazes at a photograph, pondering whether her son Gelb is faring well. Out of nowhere, someone calls for Leah. Gilbert bursts into the room, panicked, cradling Siegbert, claiming the baby stood up alone. Anna reprimands him, insisting he can't behave so recklessly. He's a marquis. Leah finds it astonishing. Siegbert breathes a sigh of relief, fearing he had been caught using magic. His father seems more astonished by his ability to stand than by the magic itself. Gilbert, brimming with excitement, urges Sieg to walk to his mother, but the MC is anxious. He hasn't mastered that skill yet. Leah reaches out her hand, and Sieg feels he can't disappoint her. With great effort, Sieg struggles to stand and attempts to walk toward the bed. He clings to the bed as he nears it. Exhausted, the boy manages to take a few steps. Leah praises him. Sieg realizes how challenging those few steps were. Gilbert scoops up Sieg up, brimming with excitement, stating he never expected Sieg to learn to walk so quickly, but he always knew he was remarkable. Sieg beams at his father's joy, though he's being shaken a bit too much. The butler Hans approaches Gilbert, initiating a conversation. Gilbert grows anxious at Hans's presence. The butler questions how long Gilbert intends to evade his responsibilities. He then instructs Gilbert to return to the office, but Gilbert insists that Sieg can walk. Hans responds with a menacing tone, demanding Gilbert return to the office. Reluctantly, he agrees. Leah expresses gratitude for Hans bringing Sieg over and wishes her husband a productive day at work. Hans grumbles about how just days ago, Gilbert was sneaking out to fetch rare tea leaves for Leah. Gilbert mutters for him to keep that under wraps. Leah requests Anna to fetch some books for Sig's room. He'll look at them as usual. The nanny consents. Sig feels drained. He used magic and walked. He's already exhausted for the day. Leah asks if he's tired and encourages the baby to rest. The boy feels content. With Sieg, Leah remarks that he'll soon be turning one. She's thrilled he's thriving. Leah expresses her happiness that he sleeps and wakes beside her. Looking down, Sieg senses something is off with his mother. She tells him she wants him to live freely, despite facing absurdities. He'll attend many events but should never regret his choices. Regardless of what lies ahead, he must always push forward, remaining strong and kind to everyone. Tears stream down Leah's face as she vows to always stand by him. Sieg wonders why she's crying. Leah urges her son to find happiness and have his dreams fulfilled. He must always cherish the moments spent by his mother's side. Suddenly, Leah collapses onto the bed, holding Sig tightly. Panic ensues as someone enters the room. She drops the books on the floor and rushes to the bed. There, she tries to call out to Leah, urging her to stay strong. Sieg is filled with fear. His mother doesn't reply. Meanwhile, at the magic school, someone enters a room and calls for Guilt. She mentions a letter from his father, but he refuses to talk. Still, the person insists it's urgent. Then she reveals that his mother has passed away. Guilt is engulfed in despair. At the funeral, Sieg dons a black cloak, looking sorrowful. Guilt stands beside him. His brother is seething with anger. Gilbert apologizes to Albert for abruptly summoning him from the Night Order to assist with everything. Albert reassures him it's fine. As the eldest son, it's his responsibility to support their father. Willibald states that the funeral arrangements are nearly complete, and he'll take care of the rest, allowing Gilbert to rest, but Gilbert declines. Then Willibald mentions that everything is progressing well, noting that many days have passed since Leah's death, and Gilbert hasn't slept at all. Gilbert looks haggard. He states that, for Leah's sake, he wanted to care for her himself until the very end. In the room, Albert, Maria, and Diovault are gathered. Anna enters, cradling Sieg. The boy heard during the funeral that Leah suffered from an incurable illness and that it was miraculous she gave birth to him. He was so close to her, yet he failed to notice. She was so lively and never appeared to be in pain. Had he used his evaluating eyes, he might have seen her illness. He could have even learned how to heal her. Sieg is heartbroken, tears streaming down his face. He feels he could have made a difference. Albert notices Theo rising and asks where he intends to go. The boy mentions he intended to visit Gelt, who remains at their mother's grave. Albert nods, stating Gelt cherished her more than any of them. Theo enters and overhears the mage yelling at Gelt, but he walks by, ignoring her. Theo attempts to explain he was on his way to meet him, but Gelt strides past. Shock washes over Theo as he comprehends his brother's intentions. He rushes to intervene. Albert and Maria are taken aback. Gwelt is enraged, shouting for him to stop. Yet Gelt insists Siegbert has no business being there. The baby and Anna are left speechless. An attack hurtles toward them, but Sieg conjures a light shield. A deafening thunderclap shatters the windows of the house. Maria cries out, pleading with him not to do that. Anna lies on the floor with Sieg. Gelt readies for another strike, but Albert is quicker, tackling his brother to the ground. Maria yells at Anna, instructing her to call their father and uncle for assistance, promising to help heal them. Gelt shouts at Albert, questioning his actions, claiming that if Siegbert hadn't been present, their mother would still be alive. Albert tells him to quit being foolish. He clarifies that since having Sieg, her health had actually improved significantly. She sacrificed her last moments for them to create final memories. Gelt refuses to listen to reason, yelling that Sieg is responsible for their mother's death. The boy is consumed by rage, and even Albert can't restrain him. But Willibald arrives, instructing Albert to move aside. He then envelops Gelt in a surge of power and magic. Gelt's wrists are instantly bound. Willibald commends Albert for his swift response. Gilbert rushes in, calling for Anna and Sieg. He inquires about what transpired. Willibald employs his healing magic on both of them. Sieg takes a moment to catch his breath, assuring everyone that all is well now. He praises Maria and Theo for their efforts, but the girl begins to sob uncontrollably. Gilbert checks on Anna, who confirms she's all right. He then asks Willibald about Sieg, who replies that he has been healed. Willibald assures he'll look after Sieg and asks Gilbert to speak with Gelt. Cradling Siegin, Willibald remarks on the horrific situation. He calls for Maria and Theo to join him. They rise, though she remains tearful and weak. Willibald invites Anna to accompany him as well. She responds that she'll notify the other staff, but he urges her to rest. However, Anna insists she can handle it herself. Willibald expresses gratitude for her care of the mansion. Gelt screams, demanding to be released. Fury fills the boy's eyes as his siblings and Willibald watch him. Maria questions why Gelt would commit such a terrible act, asserting their mother's death has nothing to do with Sieg. In a fit of rage, Gelt retorts that they are all foolish and fail to grasp the reality of the situation. The girl cries out that brotherly hatred will only lead to disaster. She pleads with Gelt to promise he won't act like that again. But Gelt is consumed by hatred, declaring he will kill Siegberts. Maria is taken aback, her heart sinking. She implores Gilbert to keep Gelt away from Sieg forever. Then she asserts her loyalty to Sieg. If he suffers again, she won't forgive it. Tears well up in Gelt's eyes. Willibald then wonders if he somehow contributed to this outcome. He tells his brother they must uncover the truth. Gilbert agrees with his brother, taking the matter seriously. Then Willibald departs with Theo and Maria. Gelt seethes, questioning why everything revolves around Sieg. Since his birth, Sieg has been the focal point of attention. He wonders why he was the one left out. Sieg was always with their mother, sharing her hair and eyes. Sieg took his place beside their mother. Gelt resolves to never forgive Siegbert. The MC awakens, bewildered by the events that transpired. His siblings are anxious, calling out his name. Maria and Theo are overjoyed to see him awaken. Willibald inquires about the boy's condition and if he can comprehend them. A small sound escapes from C, leading Willibald to believe the boy is recovering. The MC recalls noticing Gelt's animosity towards him during the funeral. The way Gelt glared at him suggested hatred, but he never thought it was enough to kill. That chilling gaze is etched in his memory. Maria remarks that Sieg must be frightened and expresses regret for not safeguarding him. Theo also feels remorse, yet Sieg holds no resentment towards them. Willibald mentions he's employing his surveillance magic, ensuring he'll know if Gelt approaches Sieg again. Maria assures Sieg that she will always strive to protect him from now on. Theo is taken aback by her words. Willibald advises her to rest, acknowledging her exhaustion. He suggests Theo should do the same. With a downcast gaze, Theo states their mother's death wasn't Sieg's fault. Willibald feels a pang of sadness. Theo lacks proof. Yet he knows it was Sieg who made their last moments with their mother filled with warmth and joy. Willibald concurs. He expresses his belief in that too. Siegbert contemplates that he was unaware of their feelings towards him. Then Willibald lifts Maria into his arms, stating they must be worn out. Theo expresses gratitude to his uncle for rescuing Sieg. Hearing that, Willibald feels a surge of happiness. Maria and Theo drift off beside Sieg. Meanwhile, Willibald remains serious, reflecting on all that transpired. Gilbert thanks his brother for his relentless efforts. Willibald asks about Gelt's current state. His brother replies it's futile. No matter his words, Gelt refuses to listen, consumed by hatred for Sieg. Their father has been informed and is prepared to take Gelt in. After the incident, Gilbert can no longer permit Gelt in the mansion. It's tragic, but he's considering letting his son stay with their father. Willibald acknowledges this and shares that he used his evaluation ability on Gelt, finding no signs of manipulation. Something may have occurred, perhaps a form of contamination. The magic school raises suspicions. Gilbert agrees, stating Willibald is correct, but those seem to be Gelt's genuine emotions. Willibald counters that regardless of Gelt's talents, he doubts a child could orchestrate all of that alone. They should look into the magic school. Gilbert concurs with his brother. Then he instructs them to proceed there, but ultimately collapses. Willibald urges him to take a moment to rest. He notes that Gilbert has reached his breaking point. His body and heart can't endure much more. Willibald expresses his desire for Gilbert to let him take over, promising he will uncover something. Gilbert clenches his fists, offering an apology. He apologizes to Leah. His brother comforts him, head bowed. Later, on the terrace of the mansion, Willibald laments that despite being nearby, he couldn't protect anyone. He begins addressing something or someone, unsure of who or what it is. But he states that it has truly destroyed everything. By inflicting pain on those he cherishes, it has compelled him to reveal the true nature of hell. Sieg believes everyone transformed after that event. His brother Theo and sister Maria, his brother Albert and brother Gilt, even his father and uncle. Consequently, he changed as well. To prevent regret and safeguard his family, he resolved to do everything extraordinary to grow stronger. He ceased acting like a child and began taking action. He absorbed all he could about magic and martial arts. Leah had told him that regardless of what transpired, he should keep pushing forward, and that she would always stand by him. That's what a scene could achieve. 4 years pass, and a boy strolls down the hallway, calling out for Theo. Theo inquires about the boy's request. Sieg wants Theo to take him along to battle monsters. Theo is puzzled and asks for clarification. The boy reveals he knows Theo is secretly aiming to join the Adventurers Guild, and today he plans to meet someone named Nikolai for monster hunting. Theo questions how the boy is aware of this. Siegbert can perceive everything with his unique evaluating vision. From the information he gathered, it seems Theo is set to confront monsters alongside an adventurer named Nikolai. The MC urges his older brother to let him tag along, but Theo insists it's too early for him. No amount of pleading will change his mind about taking a child into battle. Frustrated, Sieg demonstrates his power, declaring he will fight. Theo is taken aback by the display of magic, asserting that Sieg isn't mature enough to manage it. He then remarks that the fire magic isn't particularly large. Sieg counters that he can amplify it. He can handle potent magic, having learned a great deal and even found ways to boost his strength. Sieg attempts to harness a more powerful magic but fails. Despite his knowledge, his body isn't yet capable. He can't grasp why his magic isn't advancing. His assistant explains that it's because Sieg hasn't leveled up. In this world, people instinctively absorb power upon defeating monsters, which is how they grow stronger. The system illustrates how levels and experience function. If his level rises, so will his abilities. Without fighting monsters, his power stagnates. Sieg realizes that to become stronger, he must engage in battles with monsters. Theo tells Sieg that he needs to confront monsters to gain strength, but even being able to use magic at his age is impressive. As his older brother, Theo feels pride, yet he wonders why Sieg is in such a rush. The MC explains that if someone dear to him is in danger, he wants to be able to assist. Theo is left speechless. Sieg states that misfortune can strike at any moment. Thus, he desires to grow stronger immediately. Theo recalls when he tried to prevent his brother Gelt from getting hurt. He uses his whispering wind magic to send messages. He then tells Hans to arrange a carriage to the White Forest as soon as possible. Sieg is thrilled and thanks his older brother, while Theo agrees to take him this one time. However, he insists he can't leave his brother's side. Sieg assures him that he will be cautious. The carriage arrives to collect them. Theo mentions that he will let Sieg face the white rabbit in the forest, leaving the boy puzzled. Theo clarifies that it's the monster he will encounter during the White Hunt in a few months, a noble tradition where children face their first monsters. That's why today will serve as a practice run, and Sieg acknowledges he understands. Theo remarks on their good fortune. If their older sister hadn't attended the tea ceremony, she wouldn't have allowed him to take Sieg along. Since the day Sieg was injured, Maria has been overly protective. The MC appreciates it, but sometimes it feels excessive. Theo advises Sieg not to hold any grudges against their older sister. Sieg responds that he could never do that. He loves her dearly, as well as his older brother Theo. Theo feels a bit embarrassed upon hearing that and thinks fondly of his brother. But if she discovers he brought Sieg along, there will be consequences. They need to hurry back. Their carriage arrives at the forest's entrance. Theo expresses gratitude to Hans and requests him to pick them up at the designated time. He asks Hans to keep this a secret. The man agrees, noting that Theo is starting to resemble his father. Once Hans departs, Theo informs Sieg that they are about to meet Nikolai, and the boy must refrain from using his magic. It's a family secret. Theo extends his hand to Sieg, signaling it's time to enter the forest. Sieg is taken aback. But he remembers he's only 5, so he should hold the hands of older individuals. It's odd as he feels like an adult mentally, yet as the younger sibling, he must adhere to certain customs. Theo recalls the first time Sieg held his hand when he was just a baby. The older brother smiles at Sieg, saying that this time, if anything occurs, he will protect him without a second thought. The entrance to the forest resembles a grand garden, and they stroll through various stunning areas. Upon reaching a clearing, Theo announces that this is the White Forest. Sieg beams with joy. It's a breathtaking place. Theo explains that it's filled with unique magic, and all the flora is white. Numerous monsters inhabit this area. Even beginners can take them on, making it an ideal training ground. However, it's linked to the Silent Forest, home to terrifying creatures. That's why Sieg mustn't venture too far. The little boy nods in agreement. A voice calls out to Theo. It's Nikolai. Nikolai, puzzled by Theo's presence in a beginner's zone, questions what he's doing there. Then he spots Siegbert. Surprised, he learns that the MC is Theo's younger sibling. Nikolai playfully tousles Sieg's hair, expressing delight in meeting him. Clearly, he's been raised differently, much like the rest of the Abel clan. Theo intervenes, asking Nikolai to ease up. Sieg notes his high energy. Nikolai introduces himself as a D-rank adventurer, boasting a level of 17. Sieg, with his special vision, notes that Nikolai is 3 years older than Theo. He appears to be a magic knight, yet he's only D-rank, level 17, with a mere 86 magic. Sieg wonders if everyone is this average. Nikolai inquires if their plans shifted due to Sieg's presence, to which the boy admits yes, apologizing but stating he should be training for the White Hunt. Sieg acknowledges that he knows Nikolai had plans, but he was the one who urged his brother to take him along. He's ready to share all his earnings from the monsters if Nikolai agrees to team up. Nikolai is taken aback. For such a young kid, Sieg really knows how to negotiate. Theo asks where he picked that up. Nikolai, excited, declares he'll join the kids for training. Sieg feels glad that Mon is such a kind person. In a flash, Nikolai lifts Sieg onto his shoulders, ready for monster hunting. Theo chases after them, anxious that Sieg might fall, but Nikolai remains confident. Sieg remarks again on the man's incredible energy. They venture deeper into the woods. Then, the MC questions Theo about sneaking out with Nikolai to hunt monsters. Nikolai replies that Theo is helping him gather funds for his medical expenses. Once noble, his family now struggles financially. They've become known as fallen nobles. If it were just for his own sake, it would be manageable. However, his little sister suffers from a serious illness. Sieg recalls that his mother was also unwell. Nikolai explains he can't cover the bills alone, so Theo is lending a hand. Theo mentions he also trains his sword skills, but Nikolai chuckles, calling him a genuinely good guy. Sieg understands that Nikolai does all this for his family, so he apologizes for causing him to lose a day of hunting. Nikolai reassures Sieg that he needn't worry. Even white rabbits can bring in money if caught in sufficient numbers. He points ahead, announcing they've finally spotted one. Before them stands a white rabbit. Nikolai asks if Sieg is ready, and the boy requests a moment. The objective is to reach level 3. Additionally, he can utilize his magic eyes during the encounter. He examines the white rabbit. Its abilities are feeble. Its most vulnerable area is its head. Nikolai suggests they encircle the rabbit to prevent its escape, but Sieg insists he'll strike from there. The man questions if that's too far, noting Sieg's lack of magic knowledge, but Sieg channels his magical energy. He launches a small fireball at the rabbit. Nikolai is impressed, asking Theo if that's not a rather advanced ability, but Theo explains the Abel family has a unique training approach. Sieg unleashes more firepower against the rabbit. He gets thrilled. Nikolai is utterly astonished, while Theo grows concerned. It's a bit excessive. When Theo was younger, he couldn't do that either. Nikolai remarks that the Abel family is indeed formidable. Sieg realizes that just one rabbit won't suffice to level up. He also wants to boost Nikolai's earnings, so he asks Theo if there are more rabbits nearby. The boy says he'll go search for them. Theo activates his wind scouting ability. He spots several small groups of rabbits. Then he senses something unusual, a different kind of presence. Nikolai lifts Sieg once more, carrying him. Theo shouts not to carry him that way. Through the forest, Sieg defeats every rabbit he encounters. Then, he successfully levels up to level 2. Overjoyed, he tells Theo about his new level. Theo looks puzzled, and Nikolai asks if he means he's become stronger. Sieg feels a wave of anxiety. He forgot that levels only matter for those with system vision. The MC notes a significant boost in his magical abilities, allowing him to wield more advanced spells. His magic has only risen by 50, yet he nearly surpasses Nikolai's total. The man seems impressed, despite the rabbits being weak. He managed to take down 8 of them. This kid is anything but ordinary. Nikolai mentions that Theo is also quite strong, but that's typical for their family. Theo attributes it to their father's immense power. Nikolai is taken aback, and Sieg realizes his brother is running out of excuses. He needs to tread carefully. He aims for level 3, but knows he can't get caught, so it's wiser to halt here. Sieg thanks them both, and says it's time to leave. Suddenly, a rustling comes from behind a bush. Monsters materialize out of thin air. Nikolai yells that a group of goblins is approaching. Theo shoves Sieg back, instructing him to stay behind. However, the goblins rush past the trio. Nikolai is baffled, questioning what's happening. They usually attack. Theo observes that the goblins seem frightened. In the White Forest, they should be the top predators, yet they're fleeing. Theo starts to speak, but a menacing presence looms above them. They look up, fear gripping them. Nikolai quickly pulls Sieg away. Theo leaps back, narrowly avoiding danger. A massive tree trunk crashes down, splitting them apart. Theo shouts for them, while Nikolai reassures him they're fine. The goblins begin to gather around. Nikolai wonders why they weren't fleeing earlier. Theo deduces it was likely a trap to divide them. Nikolai counters that those monsters lack such intelligence. Theo concedes, but points out that the creature over there is different. It's a beast from the Silent Forest. Nikolai urges them to grab what they can and run. Otherwise, they won't make it out alive. That creature is a goblin general. Theo questions why a rank B monster is present. There's a disparity in magical density between the White Forest and the Silent Forest, creating a barrier. That creature shouldn't be here. Something unnerves the boy. The monster looks injured, its armor missing. It may have lost its territory in the Silent Forest. It escaped and appears enraged, possibly having broken through the barrier. Theo wonders why this is happening today. Then the monster emits a terrifying roar. Even Nikolai and Sieg, separated, feel the fear. Theo calls out for his brother and Nikolai, but the monster strikes immediately. Even in its weakened state, facing a furious rank B monster is beyond his capabilities. If that's the case, neither Nikolai nor Sieg will survive. Theo plants his feet firmly. Even if it seems impossible, he will protect Sieg this time. Nikolai attempts to fend off the goblins. One might be manageable, but with so many, it's hopeless. Sieg declares he'll handle them. He unleashes his fireball magic, incinerating the goblins surrounding him. Nikolai is astonished. Even he can't pull that off. Sieg is visibly drained after casting his spell. Nikolai checks if he's all right. The young boy has reached level 3, enabling him to use more advanced spells. Still, his energy is low. A child's body struggles with powerful magic. His assistant warns that with his current stamina, he risks passing out if he attempts advanced magic. Even if he stays conscious, moving will be tough. Sieg realizes he can only use that magic once to defeat the creature. The monster continues its assault on Theo, who recognizes his attacks aren't sufficient. Theo grabs his weapons, declaring it's all or nothing. Suddenly, something catches him off guard. Ice spikes erupt from the ground. Sieg readies his advanced magic. The spikes encircle Theo. Nikolai shouts for Sieg. He grabs Sieg with one arm while the MC calls for his brother. An explosion erupts and Nikolai shields Sieg with his body. Sieg feels anxious, but the young man reassures him he's fine. To save Theo, they must confront that monster. Sieg assesses the monster's weaknesses. Its helmet is vulnerable, but it has immunity magic active. If he doesn't counter that, facing it will be impossible. The MC is enraged, feeling helpless. Losing his family due to his own weakness is not an option. He must act quickly to rescue his brother, Theo. Theo foresaw Gelt's actions, but was powerless to intervene. Frustration consumed him for failing to safeguard Sieg. From that moment on, regret haunted him. That's why he always kept an eye on Sieg. Protecting him was his duty, and he couldn't afford to lose this battle. Theo vows never to be unable to defend Sieg again. The monster lunges at Nikolai and Sieg, but a wind barrier suddenly appears, halting the beast. Both are taken aback. It's Theo's magic that shields them. Theo yells to Nikolai that he can't maintain the barrier for long. Nikolai quickly responds by conjuring a light shield. Even he knows he can't hold the creature back indefinitely, so he calls out to Theo. Theo employs his clever wind magic. He then assaults the monster with a flurry of wind needles. The monster lets out a pained groan from the impact. Nikolai cheers, thrilled that Theo managed to land a hit. But the boy collapses immediately afterward. The enemy lands gracefully beside him. Sieg and Nikolai are left in shock, the monster's eyes burning with fury. It roars, its hatred resonating through the air. Nikolai grumbles that it should have been a decisive blow. Sieg notices the enemy's helmet is shattered. He urges Nikolai to launch him at the monster's head. A hit to the eye with his magic could secure victory. With anxiety, Sieg declares that the power to do this lies within him. Nikolai hesitates, but Sieg pleads with him, desperate to save his family. For a brief moment, Nikolai is taken aback, but he gets it. He hoists Sieg onto his shoulder, expressing his faith in him. With all his might, Nikolai hurls Sieg toward the monster. The creature notices him, but he's too quick. Sieg channels his magical energy. His brother has given him a chance, and he won't squander it. In one fluid motion, Sieg unleashes his flamethrower magic. The flames strike the monster's face. The creature crashes to the ground, defeated by Sieg's attack. Nikolai is astonished that the boy actually managed to take down the monster. Sieg realizes he has triumphed over the enemy, but he starts plummeting toward the ground. Nikolai shouts for him. Sieg has lost consciousness and is falling. Theo reacts swiftly, catching Sieg before he hits the ground. Surprised, the boy asks if his brother is all right. Sieg assures him he's fine, and Theo feels relieved, then apologizes for failing to save him once more. But Sieg smiles, grateful to Theo for helping him confront the monster. He always had his back. With a smile, Sieg thanks Theo for his unwavering support. Theo is taken aback, then smiles back. He embraces Sieg, expressing his joy at hearing those words. Nikolai casts his healing magic on the brothers, stating he can't fully heal them, but they should be able to stand. The young man admits he didn't think they would survive. Then Nikolai inquires about what Siegbert truly is. He possesses incredible magical power and was aware of the monster's vulnerabilities. No more family excuses for him. Theo's expression turns serious as he states they can't discuss that. Nikolai also adopts a serious tone, and Theo apologizes, saying it's for Sieg's protection. Nikolai takes a deep breath. He replies that he understands. Sieg is taken aback, and Nikolai remarks that if Theo mentioned it, it must be significant. Everyone has their secrets. If word gets out that a child defeated the monster, he'll lose his adventurer status, so he plans to keep quiet about it. Nikolai moves closer to the monster's remains, asking if he can keep the ashes. Sieg looks puzzled. He clarifies that those ashes come from magical crystals, which fetch a high price. With that, he could hire the best doctor for his sister. Sieg consents, saying if it's for Nikolai's family, he can take them. Still, running into a goblin general is incredibly unfortunate, even in normal situations. Sieg fears his bad luck from his past life is following him. His assistant appears, claiming it's because Sieg is lucky. Sieg is baffled, questioning what kind of luck that could be. Sieg wished to level up, master advanced magic, and boost Nikolai's rewards, all impossible at once. Yet, thanks to Sieg's wish and his luck, that monster, usually absent, appeared. That was a rare opportunity granted only to the fortunate. It's a chance bestowed by God upon the chosen few. If he has the strength to grasp it, he could even ascend to godhood. So that's what his uncle meant. His luck, masked as misfortune, will keep pursuing him, and it will affect everyone around him. However, if he can seize this moment, he can save anyone he wishes. He just needs to grow much stronger, ensuring no sacrifices are made due to his chances, because seeing has the power to make it happen. Theo suggests they take a break to regain their strength before calling for the carriage. He'll need to ask Hans to keep the secret once more. A tiger lurks behind the bushes, watching them. A cart rolls through the forest, and a man questions why they are traveling through the quiet woods. The other replies they have no choice. Secrecy is crucial. If they succeed, financial worries will be a thing of the past. Suddenly, something strikes the cart, flipping it over. A goblin general stands before them. One man asks if that's not a creature from the forest depths. The other yells for them to flee. He questions if they will abandon the sacred beast, but the other insists it must have already escaped. They know where to find it. Was it their fault for being stingy with the smuggling cover? On the ground lies a tiger cub. It struggles to rise, spots the goblin general, and bolts. Months after Sieg confronted the goblin general, his family brought him to battle a white rabbit. The monster attempts to flee, but Sieg swiftly strikes it on the head with a simple attack. Sieg participates in an event where noble children face monsters for the first time, known as the White Hunt. Someone joyfully embraces Sieg. It's Maria, beaming with pride for her brother, declaring he was incredible. She hugs him tightly, saying she expected nothing less from her little brother. Sieg complains he can't breathe. Gilbert remarks he knew Sieg could wield magic, but didn't anticipate it would be this impressive. Willibald adds that with such magical prowess, he could achieve even more. Yet he toned down his power to make it seem like ordinary magic. Sieg realizes he can't keep secrets from his uncle. Gilbert expresses surprise upon learning Sieg had left the mansion, but with that power, minor adventures won't pose a challenge. Maria argues that they can't just sneak away on their own and should consider their actions. Ultimately, they were discovered regarding their encounter with the Goblin General and received a stern reprimand. Theo reported a monster's body that shouldn't have been in the White Forest and repaired the broken magical barrier. Albert is monitoring the area, likely preventing further issues. Sieg feels relieved his father acted swiftly, even though he remains unaware they were the ones who defeated the monster. Maria squeezes Sieg even tighter, promising him plenty of hugs as a reward for his efforts. Suddenly, something catches Sieg's eye, a tail protruding from the bushes. It resembles nothing he has ever encountered. Sieg climbs down from his sister's embrace, declaring he's off to explore. Maria tries to intervene, but her father restrains her, asking her to wait. She appears anxious, but Gilbert reassures her that based on what he observed in the last fight, Sieg will be fine wandering the forest for a bit. They can track his location with magic, so they should let him enjoy himself. Maria agrees. Yet she remains uneasy. Then guilt washes over her, and it startled her. The girl expresses concern, insisting she can't leave Sieg by himself. Maria dashes off, declaring she's searching for her younger brother. Gilbert remarks that he thought Sieg's strength would calm her down. Willibald notes she's been this way since the Gelt incident. However, Theo is also accompanying Sieg. Gilbert agrees, but only when he's with him. Gilbert points out that Maria struggles when Sieg is entirely on his own, yet kids are naturally curious, even if it leads to trouble. Willibald replies that all they can do now is wait and observe, as emotional wounds can't be mended with magic. He departs, stating he'll check on the magical barrier so Albert isn't left to handle it alone. Gilbert decides to wait for Maria and Sieg. Deep in the forest, Sieg is on a quest for something. Suddenly, something grabs his attention. He spots a white tiger cub, badly hurt, who questions his presence and warns him to back off. That creature is a level 1, just a newborn. Sieg is taken aback. It's a sacred creature, and he can comprehend the tiger's words. Then it dawns on him. He possesses the skill to understand any language. From his knowledge, white tigers are endangered and require protection. What brings such a rare creature here? As Sieg observes, the tiger is gravely injured, likely struck by high-level magic. It must have been a victim of smuggling. Sieg attempts to reassure the tiger that he's there to help, but as he approaches, the white tiger bites him. The bite stings, yet Sieg persists, inching closer to the little creature. He then activates his healing ability. Sieg gently strokes the cub, declaring that it's healed now. The tiger releases his grip, realizing Sieg is kind, and begins to lick the spot where it bit him. Sieg observes how adorable and affectionate the tiger is. After all, it's just a cub. He must be frightened, but he's managed well so far. The tiger recalls being in the grasp of cruel humans. Sieg notices the sorrow in its eyes, so he embraces the cub, assuring it that everything is all right. He found it just in time. The white tiger gazes into Sieg's eyes. It tells him he's a good person and will be eternally grateful. A sudden magical aura envelops them, startling Sieg. The system alerts him that a contract with the white tiger has been formed. The MC is bewildered. His assistant clarifies that he and the tiger have established a blood contract. Such contracts are exclusive to high-level mages and sacred creatures, linking both beings. Sieg initiated it when he allowed the tiger to lick his wound. Suddenly, someone shouts at the boy and seizes him. It's Maria, his sister, who scolds him for running off alone. Then she remarks that he's become heavier. When she sees her younger brother, he's hugging the white tiger. Maria panics and screams. Later, Gilbert is puzzled when Sieg mentions he adopted a black kitten. The tiger looks far too white for that. The boy scrambles for an excuse. Gilbert states that the white forest isn't a habitat for black cats. Sieg insists it probably got lost. The emissive thinks he can't admit it's a white tiger, a rare species from his father's territory, and that he formed a contract without permission. That could spell trouble for a politician and noble, but if he uses his magic-canceling skill, he can conceal the tiger's true identity. Sieg tells Gilbert he wants to care for the little creature. Maria shouts that raising a magical beast is dangerous. Sieg argues he found the animal injured and it wouldn't survive here. She retorts that the little beast hurt him. Sieg clarifies it was merely frightened. Maria urges Gilbert to refuse, fearing the tiger might attack Sieg, but the boy insists he'll train it properly. His father calls out his name. Then Gilbert states that Sieg must take full responsibility for the animal for the rest of his life. Sieg pauses, then reluctantly agrees. Seriously, Gilbert says he understands and permits him to keep the creature. Maria is furious, but Gilbert asserts the decision is final and she should assist him. Sieg expresses his gratitude to his father, bubbling with excitement, and the tiger mirrors that enthusiasm. Gilbert kneels next to Sieg, ecstatic that the boy managed to heal the creature, proving he can wield healing magic. Maria states she won't protest any longer since their father has already given his consent, yet her trust in the beast remains shaky. To ensure his safety for the time being, she plans to keep a vigilant watch over him. Sieg feels a wave of concern wash over him regarding his sister's choice. She is constantly observing Sieg and his tiger. The creature does its utmost to appear adorable and avoid raising any doubts. However, Maria insists she won't be fooled. That's a dilemma. Even with some advanced magic under his belt, he can't continue his training. Sieg is exasperated. He craves solitude. Because of him, perilous events are on the horizon. That's why he must grow strong enough to safeguard everyone. The tiger inquires if Sieg feels fear. The MC is puzzled by the question. Then the animal leaps onto him, urging Sieg not to be afraid. They can play, which usually lifts his spirits. From a distance, Maria watches the tiger bounce on Sieg and feels a twinge of worry. She's starting to grasp the situation. That creature isn't malicious. Yet sometimes the most unexpected individuals can threaten those she cherishes. Since that day, Maria has felt like a coward. Trust is a daunting challenge for her. If things continue down this path, it won't bode well for Sieg. The tiger senses Maria's tension and rushes over to embrace her. At night, Sieg's size is notable. Somehow, they survive the day. Just as he anticipated, Maria won't appear at bedtime, making this his opportunity. With his advanced magic, he can finally take action. Suddenly, Maria walks into the room. Sieg is taken aback by her unexpected entrance. He questions what's happening, noting it's past bedtime. Maria replies that's precisely why she came. The girl declares that today, after a long absence, she wishes to sleep alongside Sieg. The boy is in disbelief. Maria cuddles up to Sieg as she sleeps. He ponders what this all means. He already has his father's approval to keep the white tiger, but Maria fears for his safety, so she always keeps watch. He didn't foresee her wanting to share a bed. At this rate, his advanced magic training will be impossible. Yet, he doesn't dislike it either. He wants to apply what he learned from battling the goblin general, but his assistant insists he needs more training. Sieg resolves to train quietly so as not to disturb Maria. The boy employs his spatial movement magic, teleporting himself out of his sister's embrace. Looks like it worked. He can't use that in front of others, and this is his first attempt, but it went smoothly. With that, he can head to the White Forest for training. The white tiger pleads with him not to go. Sieg grumbles that he'll wake Maria. The tiger warns that if Sieg leaves, he might hurt her. The boy reassures him it's fine. He'll return before she wakes. The tiger should stay behind to recover. Sieg is determined to grow stronger quickly to protect his family. He uses spatial movement once more to teleport. The tiger catches a glimpse of Maria mumbling in her sleep. She's dreaming, whispering Sieg's name. He leans against the bed, searching for an escape. Then he leaps through the window. Sieg materializes in the heart of the White Forest. Since it's a high-level spell, it drains a significant amount of his stamina. But that's just the beginning. He's been putting in serious effort for the White Hunt. Since leveling up, he can wield more advanced spells, but they still require practice to master. Sieg employs Ice Cluster magic. The boy lights up with excitement when it succeeds. With this, he might unlock other spells as well. As the night progresses, Sieg trains relentlessly, aiming for the final spell he wants to perfect. Sieg prepares to unleash lightning magic. Out of nowhere, intense eyes lock onto his. Siegaz is taken aback. A figure materializes, and he realizes it's Guilt. His older brother glares at him, radiating animosity. Sieg panics, narrowly avoiding a sudden strike. Guilt attempts to land a blow. The MC evades and yells for Guilt to cease. He casts a spell at Guilt, but it dissipates like mist. Sieg is baffled, unable to grasp what just happened. The spell relies on the user's imagination, and his trauma inadvertently summoned Guilt during the lightning magic. The MC feels drained and suddenly collapses. His assistant calls out, realizing CU has overexerted himself. Overusing magic saps physical strength. If he continues, he'll faint. Sieg begins to fade, but he must return before Maria awakens. He questions his actions, running in circles while still feeling weak. The boy recalls when the tiger asked if he felt fear. Sieg starts to piece everything together. He possesses a unique power, yet he couldn't save his mother. He resolved to grow stronger after witnessing Theo's injury because of him. However, the trauma of Guilt's attack lingers in his mind. Sieg fears being defeated by his own frailty. A swarm of white rabbits approaches the sea. The boy loses consciousness. The following day, many are searching for Siegbert. They've scoured the mansion but found nothing, not even the tiger cub. They've already talked to Gilbert and will search as soon as he arrives. Maria wonders how this could have happened while she slept beside him. She's worried the tiger might have harmed Sieg. A mate reports they found Sieg's tiger. Maria inquires if the boy was with it, but they reply no. The tiger was merely roaming outside the mansion, seemingly searching for the way to the White Forest. But it was late, so she thought she was imagining things. Maria realizes the tiger didn't take Sieg, but went after him instead. She decides to head to the White Forest. Her brother urges her not to run like that. They can arrange for a carriage. Yet, as soon as she steps outside, something catches her eye on the horizon. It's the tiger carrying Sieg on its back. Maria rushes toward them, realizing the tiger brought her brother back. Siegaz is breathing, but he's out cold. She ponders what to do with Sieg. Then she notices the tiger is also severely injured. It approaches and licks her hand. Maria is taken aback initially, then reassures it. She'll care for them both. She lifts both of them and carries them away. Sieg feels warmth and wonders what it is. Marisha is using her healing powers on him. She sees him wake up and is overwhelmed with emotion. Confused, the boy asks where he is. Desperate, Maria embraces him, saying he frightened her so much. Gilbert calls for Siegbert, who seems startled. He remarks on the boy's survival, having heard the news, and inquires if Seg ventured into the White Forest alone. The boy nods. Concerned, Maria questions whether someone took him there, but Sieg insists he went by himself. His father probes why he would go alone, noting it takes a child hours to reach that place. He can't admit to using a teleportation spell or that he was training advanced magic. Those would land him in hot water. The boy is at a loss for words in front of his father. Gilbert states that after the chaos he caused last time, they can no longer overlook it. As a consequence, he will be confined to the mansion for 2 weeks. Additionally, a surveillance spell will be cast to monitor him. The man is serious, addressing Sieg directly. He acknowledges Sieg as a clever child who always considers his family, believing he meant no harm. Yet, he senses something is being concealed, and Gilbert is aware of it. Still, he wants to clarify one point. No one in the Abel family is weak, so he doesn't need to shoulder everything alone. Sieg understands his family isn't weak. He's witnessed that firsthand. He doesn't have to bear it all. Tears well up in the boy's eyes. Maria grows anxious for him. Then, Sieg admits he was honing his magic, thinking people would be surprised by his strong abilities. If he doesn't grow stronger, everyone he cares about might vanish, just like his mother did, and that frightens him. Sieg begins to apologize, tears streaming. His father, taken aback, asks if he remembers his mother. Maria embraces Sieg, assuring him that everything is chaotic, but this time, no one is leaving. Sieg sobs in his sister's embrace while his father observes, deep in contemplation. He approaches his children, stating firmly that no one is going anywhere. He won't allow it to happen again. Gilbert hugs both Maria and Sieg. Later, lying in bed, Sieg feels a wave of sadness. It was the first time he had cried like that in front of others, leaving him feeling quite embarrassed. Yet, that moment brought him genuine relief. Sieg truly wanted to be strong for his family, but perhaps he should learn to rely on others. Regardless, Sieg is now resolved to avoid actions that could harm those he loves. He turns to the tiger, expressing gratitude for saving him. He wonders what might have happened without the animal's help. The tiger responds that it's only natural to save someone you care about. Then he requests a pet as a reward. Joyfully, Sieg pets the white tiger. The boy then realizes it's time to give the tiger a name. Sieg hadn't even considered that before. The tiger looks puzzled, prompting the boy to explain what her name will be. He settles on the name Haku for the tiger. Instantly, the animal perks up at its new name, wagging its tail and rubbing against Sieg, who is thrilled that his pet likes it. Sieg declares they are partners now and should look out for each other from now on. Haku agrees. Night descends upon the Abel family mansion. Gilbert addresses a portrait of Leah, noting that Sieg remembers her. It's good, yet a painful memory to bear. His intelligence and magical abilities are advancing to a level that hardly resembles a child's. No other child in this family has wielded such power. Gilbert feels a tension rising. He begins to tell Leah that Siegbert is extraordinary, but a knock at the door interrupts him. It's Albert and Willie, here to report on a pale magical ash they discovered in the White Forest. Gilbert acknowledges Albert's hard work and inquires about the findings. Albert responds that the crystalline magical ash has stabilized over the past few months. They identified the Goblin General's body, confirming he indeed crossed the barrier between the Silent Forest and the White Forest. Willie points out there's just one issue. They want to know who managed to defeat that rank B monster, but Gilbert suspects they already pieced it together after the last white hunt. He exhales deeply, concluding it must have been Siegbert. Albert is taken aback, exclaiming that's impossible. Defeating that demon requires advanced magic. However, when Theo reported finding the magical crystalline ash, he was concealing his injuries. Why would someone as powerful as Theo be hurt in the White Forest? Albert suggests maybe he was just protecting Sieg, and does he agree? But Gilbert insists that if there's even a slight chance Sieg did it. Albert mentions that with the ashes available, adventurers are already gossiping about who took down the rank B monster, but false tales claim it was elite knights. The magical ash vendor is a close friend of Theo's, and he's excellent at keeping secrets. Just what you'd expect from a First Order member. Willie reveals that the magic brigade he belongs to is currently analyzing the crystal made from the magical ashes, focusing on teleportation techniques. Gilbert expresses his regrets for the inconvenience, but Albert reassures him it's all right. He'd do anything for his younger sibling. Willie points out that Sig's ability to wield advanced magic makes him a naturally superior mage, unlike Geld, yet Sig remains under the radar. They aim to keep the boy hidden from both the Minister of Magic and the Magic Academy. Gilbert wishes for Siegbert to live freely, unbound by anything. That's his desire. Liar shared that wish as well. However, he also hopes Sieg would improve his behavior. Willie jokes about how he and Theo once faced monsters together. To him, Sieg and Theo appear to be exceptions. Perhaps it's a recurring issue among the able men. Gilbert asserts one thing is clear. Sieg is no ordinary child. Reaching the White Forest in such a short time suggests he used a transfer stone. Willie mentions those stones are costly and difficult to acquire, but there's a slim chance Sieg has figured out teleportation. This gives Willie a perfect reason to check on Siegbert again. Albert expresses his desire to share something different with his father. With everything settled, they discuss Sieg's white hunt, which he couldn't attend. Gilbert realizes his son would have loved to see his brother and picks up a projection stone from his desk. The man recorded everything secretly. Albert feels thrilled, while Willie finds it endearing that Gilbert splurges on expensive items for C. Albert watches his younger brother with excitement, and Gilbert notes that Sieg is already excelling in healing magic, even aiding a beast's recovery. Willie asks them to shift a bit so he can see too. The following day, Willie tells Sieg he's glad he believes in his strength, but there's still a long journey ahead. Sieg activates his magic eyes and manages to perceive. Willie is absurdly strong. His level is 60 with impressive stats all around. Not to mention his skills. He surpasses anything Sieg has encountered. He's so remarkable that Sieg has to enhance his vision just to take it all in. Sieg can't practice advanced magic alongside him, but he's fortunate to teach him the basics, so he plans to give it his all. Still, the MC ponders about that hidden spirit friend skill Willie possesses. Willie observes Siegbert. As lucky as ever, but his magical attributes remain unchanged. He might have acquired advanced magical attributes or movements, but perhaps they're overestimating. Willie remarks that Sieg is an exceptionally strong and intriguing child. His magical power has exceeded expectations, and one day he may surpass Willie with unstoppable might. Haku approaches and calls out to Sieg. The tiger proudly displays the branch he caught that fell from a tree. Sieg praises Haku, exclaiming, "It's impressive." Willie inquires if that's the monster Sieg rescued. The boy confirms, stating the tiger's name is Haku. Gazing at the white tiger, Willie remarks on its fascinating nature. Sieg insists Haku is merely a black cat, but Willie counters that he's never seen such fluffy white fur. He also possesses ice magic attributes. Haku is delighted by Willie's petting. Sieg feels relieved. The concealment on Haku is working effectively. Willie notes that the energy flow is leaking. The AMC is puzzled, and Willie requests to touch Haku a bit more. The tiger becomes excited. Then Willie mentions he noticed traces of magical colors. Willie explains it's akin to magical cooking. Mixing magics can disrupt the flow of magical energy. Sieg asks if Haku wasn't healed using healing magic. Willie remarks that there are still some aspects left to heal. Willie describes it as a curse affecting Haku. When healing with magic, some residues remain. Observing Haku, Sieg realizes there are indeed traces of a curse. He had been so focused on the wounds that he overlooked it. Sieg feels disheartened, admitting it was foolish to use healing magic. Willie reassures him it's not his fault, as curses often conceal themselves well. It's a type of magic that's both malicious and criminal. Willie collects a sample of Haku's fur, determined to track down the culprits and make them pay. Regardless, Haku's magic is out of reach. Sieg wonders if there's a way to change that. Willie mentions a sacred magic that can break curses, but he admits he doesn't have that skill. Sieg points out he isn't skilled in that magic either. He could learn it eventually, but he wishes he could assist Haku now. He recalls his father's words. Family is someone you can rely on. So, Sieg reaches out to his uncle. He mentions there's someone they can trust. Maria is taken aback and concludes something cruel is happening to the tiger. Willie mentions he heard Maria possesses sacred magic and can heal through purification. Maria responds that she still lacks the strength to wield that sacred purification. Willie notes few her age can master it. Then she quietly clutches something to her chest. Willie addresses her, but Maria insists she has something. She reveals a glowing stone. It's a sacred purification stone. Her mother requested it from the magical city when she was alive. At that time, she could only wield light magic, but she aspired to master sacred magic. Her abilities were limited, and by the time she received the stone, it was already too late. Given her mother's condition, even magic couldn't help anymore. When she gave birth to Sieg and regained her health, she felt immense joy. That sacred purification stone is infused with magic. It's something she's always kept close. Offering the stone to Haku, Maria assures him it will help the tiger. Yet, Haku appears sorrowful. Sieg inquires about his distress. The tiger expresses that the stone is precious to Maria, and if it means losing it, he doesn't want the magic. Maria believes Haku despises her, but Sieg clarifies he simply doesn't want her to lose something valuable. Surprised, the girl smiles. She steps closer, admitting she's wanted to apologize to Haku for some time. Maria expresses regret for doubting him and thanks him for saving C. Now he is Sieg's partner and familiar, and she wants to help a family member. Sieg glances at Haku, who nods in agreement. He approaches Maria and rubs against her leg. Maria gazes at the stone, grateful for the courage to believe. She channels the magic from that stone. The curse dissipates from Haku's body. Maria wonders how this will unfold. But the tiger quickly feels warmth and energy flooding back. Willie observes that the magic seems restored. Sieg rejoices for Haku, thanking his sister, who is just glad to help. Willie encourages them to try something magical, asking Haku to mimic him and use ice. Haku strikes his paws on the ground. With magic, he lifts leaves into the air. They begin to fall, blanketed in snow. Willie is impressed, exclaiming, "That's fantastic." Haku rolls joyfully in the snow, thrilled to use magic. Sieg suggests they could even build a snowman. Sieg starts gathering snow, while Maria worries he's unprotected from the cold. Willie enjoys the scene. He remarks they seem to be having a blast, so magic lessons can wait for another day. Perched atop a tree, someone reflects on the joy below, and she feels the same. She can't wait to join Sieg. Several magical bullets strike leaves in the air. Sieg celebrates because they created holes with fire without melting the ice. Willie cheers impressed, praising Sieg for adjusting the firepower well. It seems Haku is improving his magic skills. Sieg scoops Haku into his arms, celebrating. Willie mentions he has something to discuss with Gilbert, so they should wrap things up. Sieg should practice magic control with the remaining time. Sieg strolls away, grinning, with Haku cradled in his arms. Willie beams with pride for his nephew. Next, he makes his way to the mansion to wait for Gilbert. Willie greets the man as he arrives. Gilbert expresses regret for the wait, and Willie mentions he was just wrapping up a magic lesson with Sieg. Curious about Siga, the man inquires, and Willie responds that the boy's progress has been nothing short of incredible. Even after the house arrest ended, he's been teaching him for a few months. The kid's ambitious and quick to grasp even the toughest concepts, which is a joy to witness. His magical creativity is off the charts. Willie wonders where the boy gets such ideas. He ponders what thoughts swirl in that mind of his. Gilbert grumbles, saying, Willie mentions he was showing Sieg how to manage his mana. Mastering that will let him engage with the world safely. Gilbert observes that his son has clearly been putting in the effort. Then Willie shares his findings on Haku, revealing he's a black cat with both ice and light magic. Gilbert is astonished that such a creature possesses two magical traits. Willie concurs, noting he's never encountered anything like it. Sieg attracts extraordinary occurrences. Haku still displays magical colors, suggesting he was likely being pursued. Gilbert mentions he's heard rumors of the imperial family secretly hunting sacred beasts, prompting him to bolster security in his domain. Using his magic tracking, Willie discovered Haku was lost in the silent forest. The smugglers must have been desperate to capture Haku, but Willie is unsure of their intentions. Gilbert points out that the area isn't the deepest part, located at the far end of the coast. Willie muses about how events will unfold from this point onward. Gilbert sips his tea, asserting they must be as ruthless as necessary. He doubts Haku will be targeted again, but caution is essential. A family amulet would be wise. Willie grins, pondering what kind of symbol would suit Haku, perhaps one with protective magic. Gilbert notes his brother seems fond of Haku. He describes Haku as adorable and sweet, grateful for such a caring family. Gilbert remarks on how cute he looks when discussing his family. Willie replies that ultimately they're all in this together. Gilbert counters, suggesting they might not be as united as they think. He places several papers on the table. Willie is taken aback as Gilbert reveals those are love letters and marriage proposals meant for him. He thought things couldn't get any wilder. Gilbert complains that it's becoming a hassle with the letters being delivered to him. If Willie intends to remain single, that's his choice, but Gilbert will start forwarding the letters to the Magic Guild. Willie believes there really isn't another option. Perhaps he should seek assistance from a friend. In his room, Sieg practices his magic. Frustration washes over him as he realizes he has failed. It became so dark that channeling mana felt nearly impossible. The technique is straightforward, yet controlling mana remains a complex challenge. Sieg reflects that if he can create glass stones, advanced magic will be within reach. He had asked his sister if that sacred stone still held value. She replied it had turned into an ordinary glass stone. Magic stones were crafted from magical sand, and that one had once contained sacred magic. Sieg inquired if he could infuse magic into that stone and use it again. Maria confirmed he could. That glass stone was well made, ensuring it wouldn't shatter even with advanced magic applied. Maria gifted the glass stone to Sieg when she noticed his interest. If he can imbue it with magic, he can carry it with him. This way, even in the face of danger, he can wield advanced magic without straining himself. Refining a glass stone requires a significant amount of magical energy to be transformed into magic sand. Sieg plans to approach this task with care, so he concentrates. In his hands, the magic begins to coalesce. The magic gradually takes form as he focuses intently. Excitement bubbles within him as he observes his progress. But then, disaster strikes once more. Frustration boils over as he expected success this time. His assistant approaches, suggesting there may be an issue with the quality of the magic sand. Since it was his uncle who provided the sand, he assumed it was top-notch. The assistant confirms it is indeed high-quality sand, but only sand rated above 5 can be utilized, and it seems to fall short of Sieg's power level. The glass stone he obtained contains a significant amount of magical sand. Sieg ponders where he might acquire more. His assistant chimes in, suggesting the Silent Forest, but offers a better idea for Sieg. He instructs Sieg to visit the fairy forest, leaving the boy perplexed. The assistant explains that the fairy forest, blessed by spirits, holds high-quality sand and offers Sieg valuable experience. Sieg admits he doesn't know its location, and the assistant offers to lead him. He recommends a safe and enjoyable tour of the fairy forest. Sieg is baffled by the suggestion. Out of nowhere, a breeze sweeps by, leaving him in a state of confusion. A cheerful voice calls out his name, announcing she has finally found him. It's a woman radiating joy at their reunion. Sieg is taken aback by her presence. She embraces him, exclaiming that she finally tracked him down. Sieg inquires about the situation. The girl explains she kept her distance because she was warned not to pursue him, but she rushed over upon learning he was safe. Haku leaps toward the girl, worried, and warns her to keep her distance from the boy. The girl, however, is not intimidated. She is thrilled to see Sieg's sacred tiger. Haku remarks that she is a magical being. Perplexed, the girl questions whether Haku isn't a white tiger, then realizes Haku is using concealment magic. She asks if he prefers to keep it a secret. Haku confirms, and she agrees to keep it under wraps. The girl finds it intriguing to have secrets unknown to others. Sieg wonders who she is to uncover his hidden truths. Willie appears, stating that Frau is bothering Sieg. He casts a spell, sending the girl flying away from Sieg. Frau mentions she enjoys gazing into his eyes. Sieg is shocked to see his uncle, and Willie remarks that his friend is causing too much chaos. He then introduces her as the fairy Frau. Willie explains she is a significant companion who has made a pact with him. Sieg is astonished to learn she is a fairy. Then Sieg realizes what that hidden detail about Willie in his system window was. Willie reassures him that she is friendly towards humans. Although fairies and humans have clashed before, he should feel safe. Frau claims she is only kind to humans who pique her interest. Willie calls her out, but she insists she's not being unkind. Sieg wonders if that's why she could see through his concealment magic. Willie notes that ordinary humans can't perceive fairies and asks if Sieg can keep Frau's existence a secret. The boy agrees. Frau, puzzled, asks if Sieg has never encountered a fairy before. He confirms, stating this is his first experience. Frau smiles slightly at this revelation, leaving Sieg confused by her response. With joy, Frau approaches and declares that she will protect him from now on. The people Willie cares for are also her concern. Moreover, she finds him fascinating. There's a stark contrast between his exterior and his inner self. Inside, he seems mature, while he appears anxious. Willie mentions he told Frau she could meet Sieg, but she must not disturb him. Frau complains about Willie being bothersome. Sieg asks if something is wrong, but it's merely personal issues. Frau admits she doesn't fully grasp it, but suddenly she was invited to explore. After years of staying put, she felt thrilled. Willie hopes this will help keep the girls in the city at bay. Sieg questions if that's what he means by personal problems, and his uncle says it's too early for him to comprehend. Then Frau states she's in a cheerful mood and wants to give him a token of their friendship. The boy is bewildered. She asks if he desires the magical sand from the fairy forest. Sieg inquires if she has it with her, and Frau replies she doesn't, but it's present in her magical body for him to use. Willie had mentioned that Sieg's magic is quite powerful, and that magical sand might not suffice. Frau asks if Sieg wants sand from the fairy forest. If it's solely for training, it shouldn't pose a problem. Frau asks if Sieg wishes to create beautiful glass stones, and he affirms. Willie inspects the stone Sieg has crafted and concludes that his mana control is impressive. However, he doubts that preparing for the journey will be straightforward. Sieg asks if he's busy. His uncle explains he's working on a type of teleportation and won't be able to leave the magical body for a month. That's why he can't assist Sieg for a while. Willie apologizes, but Sieg reassures him it's fine. He recalls that the magical body is where magic is studied. He wonders if there are still many forms of magic he hasn't mastered. Frau promises to deliver the sand to Sieg, but Willie declines. If she moves objects, a regular person might think things are levitating. Thus, she must act independently, even in her human form. If anyone discovers she's a fairy, she could be in peril. Frau acknowledges this. Yet she thought Sieg might appreciate it. Sieg grumbles, stating, in that case, he'll head to the magical body himself. Willie asks if he's going solo, and Sieg replies affirmatively. As a budding mage, he's eager to witness the magical body. Frau exclaims how wonderful it is. She's thrilled for her first journey. Willie mentions he'd be concerned if Sieg were an ordinary child. But since it's Sieg, he feels confident. Together, they can explore. The boy beams and expresses his gratitude to his uncle. They succeeded. The magic tomes at the mansion weren't sufficient, so Sieg had to venture out. His goal, to become a true mage. Haku is eager to join him, but Willie doubts that's wise. The tiger is exceptionally rare. It might stir up trouble. Haku feels down, but promises to look after the house. Sieg agrees that's the best plan. Willie says he'll speak with his brother to ensure Sieg is welcomed properly. Frau mentions she'll be waiting for him. Maria questions Sieg's certainty about his decision. He assures her he'll return by carriage, with Uncle Willie waiting. His sister tries to protest, but Sieg vows to return safe and sound. Maria consents and urges her brother to stay cautious. Haku promises to wait for him. Theo reassures that Sieg will be all right and wishes him an amazing adventure. Hans informs Siegbert that the carriage is ready. The boy expresses his thanks. Sieg bids farewell to his siblings and Haku. He makes his way to the carriage. The MC expresses his excitement about visiting the capital. Hans notes it's Sieg's first time there. The man mentions he hasn't been back since he and Theo cleared the monsters from that region. Willie remains in the capital at the third magical body, where they're studying magical creatures and monsters. But let's set that aside for now. The capital is just ahead. The carriage arrives at the Grand City. Sieg gazes out the window, excitement bubbling within. The magical body's entrance lies to the east, but the research area is concealed elsewhere. Hans jokes about those who experiment on monsters, and Sieg nervously points out that's where his uncle works. The man confirms this, reminding Sieg to keep it under wraps. Later, Sieg arrives at the magic building's reception. His attendants are anxious since they can't enter. However, the receptionist insists it's protocol, and only Sieg can proceed from here. The caretaker expresses concern for Sieg's youth, but the receptionist reiterates it's protocol. She attempts to argue, but Hans states that if it's protocol, there's nothing they can do. Siegbert will manage, yet Sieg feels uncertain. The receptionist reassures him of his safety, and then he departs, with Sig following. After bidding farewell to his caretakers, the boy feels joy at finally being there. He wonders what this place holds. The man guiding him advises Sieg to watch his step. Sieg is taken aback as they enter a dim, eerie area. Sieg questions if they're meant to be there and pleads not to be left behind. Nervousness creeps in, but he chose to come here alone. So, he follows the receptionist. Everything is shrouded in darkness, and the receptionist warns Sieg to be cautious. The door is creaking open. A massive gate starts to swing open, heightening Sieg's fear. He wonders what could be concealed behind such a door and what kind of place this truly is. The receptionist channels his magic into a stone. Sieg stares at the gate, astonished. As it fully opens, a blinding light spills out, dazzling Sieg's eyes. Beyond the gate lies a new structure surrounded by towering trees. This is the magical body's research area. It's far larger than he envisioned, and Sieg wonders about the massive tree entwined with the building. The liquid flowing like a small fountain isn't water. Sieg calls out to the man, inquiring about the liquid cascading from the tree like a waterfall. He asks if it's tree sap. The man affirms, complimenting Sieg on his keen observation. Feeling anxious, Sieg mentions he read about that in a book. Magical resources are derived from that sap. Then he inquires if that tree holds any special significance. Sieg notices the man's nervousness and apologizes for his sudden question. He was merely curious. Then his guide explains, that is a colossal Amrita tree. Long before the structure was built, it thrived and continues to expand. Its sap holds magical qualities that aid their research. The armored tree holds significant value for them. All waste materials are transformed into fertilizer. Sieg is in awe. He inquires whether the magical entity and the tree coexist harmoniously. The man confirms this, stating it's a wise perspective. They arrive at the entrance of the magical research group. Sieg is impressed, and his guide mentions that the captain awaits behind the blue door. Confusion washes over the boy as the man departs, leaving the receptionist to repeat that the captain is behind the blue door. It seems he won't be escorted further, but Sieg had more questions. Before leaving, the man advises Sieg to take his time if he's interested in this place. Sieg already sensed they weren't particularly friendly, but he wonders if they're obsessed with research. He pushes the blue door open and steps into a hall. A massive stone stands at the center surrounded by several hooded figures. Someone greets Sieg. It's his uncle. The boy begins to ask about Frau, but Willie hushes him. He reassures Sieg that there are individuals here capable of seeing spirits, so she's safe. Willie mentions that Frau sends her regards and they'll reunite soon. Sieg acknowledges this. A spell is cast on the giant stone, leaving Sieg in awe. Willie explains that it's a new kind of teleportation stone. Unlike the standard ones that only transport to fixed locations, this one can handle multiple registered destinations. Its setup is complete. They're testing it for any magical issues. Redoing it would be a massive undertaking. Sieg exclaims that it's incredible magic. Willie agrees, stating that once operational, teleportation will undergo a major transformation. In the future, carriages might become obsolete. Willie asks if Sieg wants to check out the other areas. They have numerous halls and rooms. Sieg expresses his desire to see it all. His uncle beams and starts to say something. But suddenly, a loud crash interrupts. One researcher questions what's happening. Another replies they have no idea. The stone has become unstable. A system short circuit occurs, leading to an explosion, and Willie shields Sieg. Everything becomes blindingly bright. Then, it plunges into darkness. Sieg wakes up disoriented. He finds himself in a place resembling ruins. The MC ponders his location. From afar, Willie notes that the boy is awake. He remarks that it was a close call, and Sieg's body must be in shock from the transfer. Willie asks how Sieg feels. The boy replies he's fine and inquires about their whereabouts. His uncle describes it as akin to a dungeon. Sieg is taken aback, and Willie mentions he looked around and it appears to be a low-level dungeon. Willie wonders why they ended up in a dungeon and if there's an issue with the magical composition. Sieg calls out to him. The man, lost in thought, admits it's embarrassing that he can't explain the unexpected transfer. This dungeon isn't listed in the teleportation stone. The coordinates fall outside the intended destination. He wants to uncover the reason and insists they must find a way out. The boy asks if they can't teleport away, and Willie explains he does possess a teleportation stone, but dungeons come with numerous restrictions. Dungeons feature enigmatic structures. It's like a concealed world. They could end up anywhere. Much about dungeons remains a mystery. Dungeons also have the ability to trap those within and consume their bodies. Yet, in the deepest sections of dungeons, priceless treasures await. It's a gamble, but a place brimming with potential to unveil the world's secrets. Sieg gets genuinely excited by this prospect. Willie notes he hasn't seen signs of exploration there, so the valuable items must be far off. Sieg feels lucky. A teleportation like that is unsettling. He wonders if it's due to his luck. To escape, they can climb back to the entrance. Alternatively, they could delve deeper and confront the boss. Willie grins, having just thought of something. He asks if Sieg wants to take on the dungeon boss solo. It's the ideal opportunity to showcase his training results. Sieg feels anxious and questions whether he can defeat the boss of this dungeon. With a smile, Willie reveals that the boss is known as the Red Sword King, a B-rank monster. That's the same rank as the monster he faced earlier, but Sieg isn't confident he can handle it alone. Sieg questions whether his uncle realizes the risks involved, to which Willie reassures him that he has faith in Sieg. Saiji feels an unsettling sense of foreboding. Given their low level, confronting the boss directly is the quickest way out. It's worth a shot. Out of nowhere, a scream pierces the air. Siegus jumps, exclaiming, "It sounds like a girl in peril." Willie ponders the suddenness of the situation. The boy dashes toward the source of the scream, while his uncle calls after him. But it's too late. Sieg arrives at the scene. He spots a girl ensnared, sporting animal ears. Sieg is utterly baffled, unable to comprehend what he's seeing. His uncle catches up. The girl is ensnared in webs crafted by two massive beasts. Willie inquires if SIG is prepared. It's time to demonstrate the fruits of his training. Sieg identifies the foes as spiders, both possessing advanced magic. One of them launches webs at Seg and Willie, leaving the MC stunned and slow to react. However, Willie pulls him aside and they narrowly evade the attack. Willie points out the monster's weak spots, its eyes and joints, advising Sieg to strike as they practiced. But this time, he should add a bit more force. Sieg realizes the spider wields earth magic. He retaliates with a wind magic strike against the creature. The spider loses a leg. Willie cheers, declaring Sieg possesses incredible power. The MC warns that another spider is sneaking up from behind. Willie reacts swiftly, intercepting the incoming attack. With a single motion, he obliterates the monster. He muses that he should have let Sieg take that one down, but they'll save it for later. Sieg notes his uncle has no vulnerabilities. Willie states the next task is to use his magic to save the survivors. He slices through the hanging cocoons, heading toward the girl who had been screaming. He checks in, asking if she's all right. The girl inquires about who Sieg is. Before he can respond, something looms behind him. A man appears carrying a woman who seems distraught over her earlier mistake. The rescued girl gasps at the sight of the approaching woman. The woman rushes to the girl, calling her Lady Daya, thanking the heavens for her survival. Tears fill her eyes. She had nearly succumbed to despair. Then something catches her eye, and she tells Dia. She notices Dia's ears. It appears the magic amulet has shattered. That's a secret only they share. They must conceal it quickly. Sieg wonders why revealing her ears would be problematic. He steps closer, hood drawn, assuring her it's fine. The man asks if he knows Sieg, causing Sieg to feel anxious. Then Willie steps in, noting the man doesn't seem like an ordinary adventurer. The man observes Willie's attire, questioning if he belongs to the magical body. The young man affirms. Daya mentions they were the ones who aided her escape. The man asks how he can repay them, and Willie states that Sieg did all the work. With a smile, the man expresses gratitude to Sieg for his courage. Willie notes they're unconscious, but managed to save two more individuals. Sieg asks about the others. Willie advises it's better if he doesn't see that. Inside the cocoons lie shattered, empty suits of armor. Those who perish in the dungeon are consumed by it within hours. The spider's cocoons siphon energy from their victims, leading to a slow, agonizing demise. The man declares he will take what remains back home. Willie agrees, saying it's a wise choice. Feeling heavy-hearted, Diaz claims they were noble knights, ready to sacrifice everything for their homeland. Sieg feels a wave of sadness, wishing he had noticed sooner, but Dia reassures him it's not his fault. They were all set for this. Sieg retrieves something he had tucked away. He hands Dia a small package. Inside are several adorable cookies. The girl inquires about them. Sieg explains it's a treat he received when he was weary, so delicious it can chase away the gloom. He takes a bite to demonstrate. He asks if she'd like to try one. Lady Dia steps closer, picking up a cookie. She samples it and exclaims that it's delightful. Thrilled, Sieg encourages her to take as many as she desires. He offers some to the woman next to her, but she declines, claiming she's not special. The man approaches, apologizing for keeping Dia waiting. He mentions they've finished collecting the knight's belongings, and the magical body is setting up a tent for their rest. The survivors are safe. Sieg feels a swell of pride for his uncle's efforts. Dia expresses her inability to convey her gratitude. She removes her cloak, thanking Sieg for the tasty treat. Then she apologizes for taking so long to greet him. The girl introduces herself as Diana von Estania, the third princess of Estania. Sieg is taken aback to discover she's royalty. Willie picks up a broken item from the ground. Traces of magic linger in the shattered barrier. Perhaps that's why he missed the nearby battle. As anticipated, it appears to be a trap. They gather within the tent. Camille and Daniela, Knights of Estonia, are present. They report feeling fine. Diana introduces Emma, her maid. The woman expresses her gratitude for their assistance. The man introduces himself as Pascal, holding the title of Count. Diana states that Pascal is the one she trusts the most. Willie remarks that Pascal is the Count of Baalsmoed. He's heard much about him as a renowned knight. Pascal acknowledges Willie as the Red Mage. Kolwad mentioned he was from the magical body and had red hair. It was an easy deduction. Once he revealed his connection to the Abel family, it became even clearer. Diana inquires if they belong to the Abel family. Willie introduces himself as the vice commander of the third magical body, with Sieg as his nephew. Siegbert introduces himself as well. Diana greets him warmly. Now that introductions are complete, Willie asks why the princess ended up in that dungeon. She explains they used teleportation for diplomatic purposes and found themselves trapped there. By the time they realized it, escape was impossible. Sieg notes they share the same predicament. Pasquale states that if the princess vanishes, it will spark a national crisis. They must ensure her safe return to the surface. He asks Willie if he can assist them in escaping. Sieg agrees, suggesting they collaborate since they've had similar experiences. Willie anticipated Sieg would say that. The man consents but mentions a condition. He presents a contract stating that no one may speak of anything they witness involving Sieg in that dungeon. Camille is taken aback to see it's a contract from the Demon Book. Sieg questions if it's a unique type of contract. The man clarifies. Whoever violates the contract will face death. That's the stipulation. Sieg is filled with dread upon hearing that. Camille exclaims that Willie is risking his life. Willie acknowledges it's disrespectful, but those are the terms for their cooperation. No matter the cost, no one can learn about Sieg. Even if she's royalty, the terms remain unchanged. Diana assures him she understands. She decides to accept the contract, causing Pascal to worry, but she insists it's essential to prevent further complications. As the princess, she's willing to risk her life for her people. Willie observes that Diana is quite strong. Sieg tells Willie he doesn't need to go that far, but Diana responds that it's fine. The protection of the Abel family is significant to them. Diana notes that Siegbert is the gem of his generation. Willie gazes at her intently. Sieg questions if he truly is a gemstone, prompting Willie to remind him of his greater significance. To the Abel family, his presence is extraordinary. His exceptional talent isn't merely a typical skill, it's something entirely unique. Diana requests the contract, but Sieg argues it's unfair to impose his terms on her. He then inquires if there's anything she'd prefer to keep confidential. He can draft a contract with her. Willie clarifies that he doesn't need to do that, but Sieg insists that if she's willing to take a chance, he will too. He aims to act with integrity towards her. Diana ponders and decides to remove the hood that Sieg provided. She mentions her ears and tail, wanting to ask him for a favor. Camille and Daniela are taken aback to discover the girl possesses ears and a tail. Willie examines her features and questions if they stem from her lineage. Diana shares that they were aware of their non-human ancestry. Once, during a blue moon, a human was born resembling that figure. Regardless, she can't be seen like that. Sieg notes that discrimination exists in that realm as well. Diana mentions she typically uses magical items to conceal her traits, but it shattered during the last assault. She wishes to keep her ability to revert to her ancestors a secret, as it could undermine royal authority. As long as no one else is aware, Sieg can't disclose certain details about her. That would be the contract's stipulation. Siegag consents and requests his uncle to execute it. Willie reminds him that regardless of the outcome, he must uphold the contract. The protagonist agrees, assuring he would never do anything to upset Diana or her family. Willie takes a deep breath. His nephew is quite stubborn. The man agrees, but insists the contract shouldn't jeopardize Sieg's life. He alters the terms. Whoever breaks it will lose their memories. Diana beams and expresses her gratitude to Siegbert. The two of them finalize the contract with their signatures and ascends into the air, disintegrating. Sieg asks if the contract is now finalized. Willie affirms and urges everyone to keep it confidential. Camille states he'll only do it for the princess, while Pascal wonders if they'll now cooperate. With a smile, Willie agrees and shakes his hand, stating they'll navigate the dungeon together. Seat calls out to Diana. He smiles, assuring her that everyone will emerge safely. She responds to him, saying that will undoubtedly happen. Willie kept it from Sieg, but he embedded a few safeguards in the contract to ensure their mission succeeds. That was the only way to shield Sieg and assist those he doesn't trust. That magical barrier stone was placed there before their arrival to prevent interference until the princess had perished. So, this is as close to certainty as he can achieve. That's why he must rely on his instincts. There must be something lurking, a traitor concealed in the shadows. Willie conveys that this is their final situation. Despite their issues, they resolved them. Now he must inform his brother he'll manage Sieg. And one more thing. He discovered an artifact with magical remnants. There might be a traitor among them. C awakens, and Willie greets him with a good morning as soon as he notices he's awake. The protagonist asks if Willie was conversing with someone. The man replies no, he was merely observing Sieg sleep. The boy is taken aback by his uncle's position. Sieg had taken Diana and the others for a brief rest, then sought out his uncle to keep watch. Willie inquired if he wasn't going to sleep, and Sieg replied no. Sieg asks his uncle when he last slept, to which Willie admits he wanted to stay awake, but perhaps it was too much for him. Willie asks if Sieg went out with Theo because he aspires to be an adventurer. The boy responds that he wants to grow stronger. Naturally, he dreams of becoming an adventurer someday. It sounds thrilling to battle monsters. His uncle encourages him not to feel embarrassed about it, stating that even as he matures, a child still resides within him. Sieg requests him not to tease. Emma appears to inform the two that breakfast is ready. Willie ventured out to gather ingredients. Sieg grumbles, expressing his desire to join. A spread of various dishes covers the table. Princess Diana beams at the sandwich made just for her. The girl is taken aback, thinking it's neat how much she enjoys sandwiches. Pascal remarks on the fortunate presence of edible monsters in the dungeon. Pascal expresses gratitude to Willie for his night watch. Emma decides to thank him for the full kitchen. C offers his sandwich to Diana, knowing her fondness for them. She inquires how he figured that out. The boy replies he noticed her joy while eating the sandwich. The girl blushes, flustered that Sieg paid attention to her. Diana asks if Sieg appreciates her outfit. The boy responds not really, but insists she looks better. Cormel grumbles, claiming Sieg is disrespecting the princess, but the boy insists Diana is cute. Indignant, the boy questions how Sieg dares to speak of the princess that way. Rude, even for a child. Willie slams a knife on the table. He reminds Camille who is keeping them alive and tells the knight to let Sieg speak freely. Diana reassures them it's fine. She's pleased he's treating her normally despite her current situation. Daniela wonders how they should move forward from here. Camille suggests confronting the boss is the quickest way out. Willie concurs, noting they're on the 23rd floor with the boss on the 25th. Given his reaction, the boss is likely a Red Sword King. There are monsters on the way, but nothing too formidable. Kamal is impressed that Willie knows about the monsters they might face. Willie admits he can't know everything until they encounter them. Pascal believes that knowing this much is sufficient. His enemy detection skills are remarkable. Sieg notes his uncle can do it all. Ultimately, he aims to level up further through training. He wants to master magic that aids in adventuring. Pascal suggests they prepare to descend now that they've finished eating. Diana agrees and asks Willie and Sieg to guard her. Sega agrees while Kamal glares at Willie, frustrated that there's always someone stronger around. Daniela observes him with tension. In private, Camille asks Daniela if she's certain about what she witnessed. She affirms, stating that Willie was holding a magical artifact and contacting someone. They were surrounded by monsters on that level. Perhaps it was due to that stone. Daniela speculates that Willie might have led them into the dungeon with harmful intentions. Kamal thinks that's troubling, and they need to inform the princess. But Daniela urges him to breathe and stay calm. If he speaks out, Willie will obliterate him. Camille grumbles that if his brother were present, he might devise a better strategy. His older brother is an exceptionally skilled knight. He lived to meet everyone's expectations, consistently delivering the desired results, with all eyes on him. This time, he was assigned as Her Highness's knight. Camille thought he would finally gain recognition. Yet, he feels he will never be seen like his brother. Daniela mentions she was the one who recommended him to accompany Her Highness this time. He had the qualities needed for the mission. If he can protect Diana, everyone will acknowledge him. Kamal expresses surprise that Daniela cares so much about him. She suggests letting Willie and Sieg take the lead for now. If they succeed, they can grow. They can manage this and defeat the Red Sorcerer. The two vowed to protect Diana at all costs. They reach the 24th floor of the dungeon. There, Sieg confronts the emerging monsters. With just a few swift moves, he vanquishes the creatures and gathers their meat. Pascal remarks on how impressive it is that Sieg can handle those monsters solo. The man notes this is why he altered the contract's punishment. Sieg truly is a rare talent of his generation. He's simply one of a kind. Sieg returns to the group, thrilled to see they have more meat to feast on. Campbell points out that the dungeon remains a danger and those bodies will vanish. Willie explains that the dungeon absorbs all the bodies. It's the energy source sustaining it. Initially, when a creature dies, it transforms into something else. Gradually, it's absorbed. If they collect the meat before that, they can store it. Sometimes monsters even disintegrate into processed food. Willie suggests it might not even be a dungeon, but rather a ranch created by an unknown civilization. Suddenly, something grabs Sieg's attention. It's Diana and Emma standing together. The princess appears sad and forlorn. C approaches her, reassuring Diana not to be alarmed. She's safe here. Diana responds that she isn't frightened. Nervously, she clutches her tail, stating she's accustomed to handling it. Seg offers an apology. The girl inquires if Sieg isn't scared, surrounded by so many monsters. He admits it is frightening. Diana wonders why he seems to cope so well, and Sieg explains he aims to grow stronger. It's all about safeguarding those dear to him. He also wants to avoid suffering due to his own decisions. That's why he keeps fighting. Diana tells Sieg he's a kind person, but the boy insists he's just trying to appear intriguing. He's always enjoyed adventures. What he says is accurate, but at that moment, fear isn't his primary concern. He's buzzing with excitement from the unknown. Most of the time, he's confined to a mansion. Feeling down, Diana expresses that she understands his feelings. She too spends the majority of her time in the royal palace, which keeps her safe. But whenever she sees children playing around the castle, jealousy creeps in. Sieg looks down after hearing her words. Then he suggests they seize the chance to take a stroll. She's taken aback. Excitedly, Sieg mentions that without monsters, the place is genuinely beautiful and enchanting. He asks her opinion on the fruits and trees nearby, wondering if she's not curious to explore further. Diana admits she wants to accompany him. Sieg extends his hand to her, saying they can go together, and if a monster appears, he'll protect her. Diana is taken aback by Sieg's words. Camille grumbles, warning Sieg not to lead the princess into perilous areas. Willie counters that there are no monsters around, and Emma can keep watch. Pascal grins, noting he's never seen Diana so joyful before. Sigbert is a great friend for her. Willie agrees. The two excitedly venture into the forest. They explore the surroundings and the fruits hanging from the trees. The duo gazes at the lake. Suddenly, a small monster appears. Pascal dispatches it, and Seg gets thrilled about the sword. Later, they pause to have a meal. Sieg and Diana stumble upon a mysterious box and eagerly open it. Meanwhile, Camus watches them with anger. The pair continues on their journey, still buzzing with excitement. Eventually, they arrive at the gate leading to the final level. Beyond that gate lies the dungeon boss. Camille insists they should enter immediately to rescue the princess. Willie questions why he's always in such a hurry. The dungeon boss is ranked B. They can't afford to let their guard down just because they're fatigued. So, they should rest here for now and prepare for tomorrow. Looking at Sig, he expresses a desire for his nephew to get some rest. He truly expects Sig to confront the boss alone. That night is likely their last in the dungeon. Everyone must remain vigilant. Diana feels downcast as the end approaches. She approaches Siegbert, asking if he has a moment to chat. The girl expresses her wish to speak with him privately. Sieg is puzzled, and she mentions she already asked Emma and Pascal. They agreed, as long as they don't stray too far. The boy turns to Willie, asking for permission to go. His uncle expresses concern about him wandering alone in the dungeon, but the boy pleads to be allowed. Feeling down, Diana mentions this might be her final moment with Siegbert. Willie acknowledges her feelings. Then he casts protection and monitoring magic on them just in case something goes awry. Sieg invites her to a special spot he discovered while she was dining. The girl agrees to join him. From a distance, Willie contemplates that Sieg can fend for himself. He just needs to stay alert. Meanwhile, the Count and Emma are busy cooking while the two knights patrol. Willie is resolute in his quest to catch the traitor. If a move is coming, they must be close. From afar, Daniela observes. Camel sneaks up behind her, inquiring about her activities and those peculiar magical items. The girl explains that it's for the princess's safety. She created several duplicates. The stones will keep their actions hidden. Camille questions her motives for doing this. She replies that it's to trap the red sorcerer, handing Camille the magical item. She instructs him to follow her plan. Every action she takes is for Her Highness's protection. Camille feels anxious but agrees, promising to see it through. Daniela emphasizes that there's only one shot, so he must pay close attention. With that, she feels confident they'll overcome the red sorcerer. Sieg reaches out to Diana, cautioning her to watch her step. It's already dark, and they're in a secluded area. The girl comments on the beauty and tranquility of the place, surprised that such spots exist in dungeons. Sieg is pleased she appreciates it. Sieg expresses his desire for her to feel at ease while they talk, asking her to hold on for a moment. He then uses his magic to conjure something unusual. Diana inquires about the object, and the MC explains it's meant to be a cozy couch. She should try it out. The girl agrees and sits on one of the chairs. They both settle in comfortably. Sieg then asks what she wanted to discuss, catching her off guard. She mentions that Siegbert is incredible, and despite being the same age, he possesses far more magical knowledge. Diana notes he always looks out for her, even in her moments of fear. As the Princess of Estonia, she expresses her gratitude and promises to stand by him whenever he needs her. Sieg admits he still has much to learn. There are countless things he hasn't mastered, but he's gained a lot since arriving. He recalls his uncle saying Sieg is more unique than he realizes, a special figure for the Abel family. Siegaz, surprised, asks Diana if she knows what a gemstone is. She apologizes, admitting she lacks the specifics. The Abel family played a crucial role in maintaining the kingdom's stability, earning them the title of Marquesses. Later, the king's second son became part of the Abel family. Sieg vaguely recalls hearing something about that. The gemstone is a treasure the Abel family has safeguarded for generations. It's the prized possession of the Abel family. Sieg is puzzled by the notion of a treasure within the Abel family. The gemstone signifies the family's heirs. The Abel family will not tolerate anyone touching their treasure, but regarding the power it holds. No one seems to have an answer. Sieg wonders if he truly holds that much value. He questions whether he is indeed the treasure of the Abel family. Diana admits that's all she knows, but when the time is right, someone will reveal the truth. Sieg apologizes for asking something so complex. She reassures him it's okay. They both have their secrets. She glances at the glass, noting their similarities. Diana blushes, reiterating that they are alike. Then she calls out to Siegbert, and he turns to her. She requests that he simply call her Diana. Sieg continues to refer to her as Princess, but Diana insists he should only use her name. The MC asks why the sudden change, and she apologizes, admitting she got carried away. Sieg wonders if that was her main topic. Diana confesses she wanted to be friends with Siegbert. Even with her secrets, he treats her with kindness and respect. Thanks to him, she's discovered the thrill of adventure. Every moment spent with him is a joy. When she returns to Estonia, she'll revert to being a princess and won't have these experiences again. So before that happens, she wishes for them to address each other by their first names, just like a regular conversation. That way, she'd love to enjoy time with Sieg as a friend. The boys smile. He calls her simply Diana. As he says this, he expresses his desire to grow closer to her, not because of her title, but because they share the same age. Sieg grins, commenting on how fun her tale is, but she grabs it, embarrassed. The MC assures her they won't lose touch. He'll find a way to send her letters. They'll meet again. He's excited. Diana agrees, affirming they'll definitely see each other again. She feels anxious. Words escape him, yet he's certain. Diana is destined to blossom into a stunning woman. Willie notes that Sieg and the princess remain stationary, while Emma and Pascal stay put in the tent. However, he can't find the knights. Clearly, they plan to act openly. The man ponders if they possess enough magic to thwart him. Out of nowhere, smoke envelops him. Its presence disrupts magic. Willie attempts to find C. He detects his nephew's aura. Wondering if he's close, he suddenly spots something. Willie yells for the man to halt. Yet Camel dashes away with Seek over his shoulder. The uncle observes. He easily shattered the ice prison, but can't fathom why he pursued Sieg instead of the princess. Regardless, Willie is indifferent to his goal. Anyone who dares to harm Sieg will face consequences. Willie pursues Camille. He bursts through a door. His nephew lies unconscious on the floor. The man rushes toward the boy. He lifts him up, but something shocks him as he makes contact. It's not Sieg, it's merely a decoy. Willie realizes he was the target all along. He's stunned, unable to grasp the situation. Suddenly, an explosion erupts where Willie stands. Camel shields himself from the fallout. He retreats, questioning if they managed to handle everything. The young man is ecstatic about defeating the Red Mage. He claims this elevates him to a new level. Daniela declares that everything has come to an end. She plunges a knife into Camille's back, stating he's no longer useful. The boy is taken aback by the sudden betrayal. He collapses, and Daniela, she assumed he'd catch on, but Camille is utterly clueless. Still, she's grateful he survived. Convincing the other knights to follow her blindly would have been challenging. Camille feels his life ebbing away, realizing Daniela deceived him. Daniela reveals that everything she said was false. She never supported him and had no plans to safeguard the princess. Even the monsters were her doing. The magical toy he gifted her is remarkable. She doesn't care if a loser like him wields it, as long as it helped eliminate the mage. With only children and aging warriors left, finishing them off will be simple. Daniela vows no one will obstruct her. Camille reaches out, but Daniela kicks his hand away, warning him not to touch her. Poor Camille, strong enough to be a royal guard. If only he had used his head, he might have achieved more. Now he's destined to die here, leaving the dungeon to handle the aftermath. At least his superior brother is still alive. So, even if he perishes, no one will mourn him. Camille feels his life slipping away gradually. A sound piques Sieg's interest. Diana suggests something might be wrong, and Sieg instructs them to return. The dungeon boss's gate stands ajar. Pascal rushes toward the children, asking if they're okay. Diana inquires about the situation. Pascal admits he's unsure. They heard sounds of battle from the tent and came to investigate. Emma mentions that earlier, the demon barrier surrounding the tent had been sealed. But Pascal managed to break the barrier, and by the time they exited, everything was already in chaos. Suddenly, the magic shielding Sieg and Diana dissipates. Sieg grows anxious, questioning if something has happened to his uncle. Daniela emerges from behind the boss's gate. Pascal asks what transpired and why she's bleeding. The traitor claims they were ambushed, specifically by the one who lured them into the dungeon. The perpetrator slipped into the boss's chamber. Camille and Willie are trying to restrain him. Daniela urges them to pursue him, and Pascal nods in agreement. The woman reassures that Diana should be safe, but they can't focus their doubts on just one individual. She asks Sieg if he can protect the princess. The MC nods, telling her not to fret. They step into the boss's chamber, revealing a massive foe behind the gate. It sits on a throne, its head bowed. Diana realizes it's the Red Sword King. Sieg inquires about his uncle, while Pascal wonders where everyone else is gone. Daniela bursts into laughter, questioning if any of them ever learned to be careful. Suddenly, the door behind them crashes shut. Daniela states that due to their foolishness, the only outcome they can expect is death. Fuming, Pascal accuses her of being the mastermind. Daniela retorts that it's far too late to realize that Camille and the mage have already fallen. Sieg yells that it can't be true. She couldn't have defeated his uncle. The woman insists that Sieg's beliefs are irrelevant. The truth remains unchanged. Daniela channels her magic. She manipulates the boss. It rises, enraged and agitated. The woman declares that boss fights are dull, so she intends to spice this one up. She proclaims that Princess Diana will suffer a painful demise. Pascal questions Daniela's intentions. Sieg activates his magical vision. Daniela is controlling the boss in an unusual manner. Its powers are twisted and erratic. Sieg attempts to identify its vulnerabilities. The creature reacts strongly to advanced thunder magic. Sieg is annoyed that it had to be lightning. Daniela commands the beast to charge at the group. With her dark sorcery, the creature encircles Pusk, and it's cutting them off. From Sigbert and Indiana, Daniela instructs them to remain silent while she finishes off the princess. Anxious, Pascal urges Sigbert to get Diana to safety. They'll be trapped soon, so they need to act fast. Sieg grabs Diana's arm, attempting to lead her to the exit. He must ensure her safety at all costs. With his magical sight, he spots a way to unlock the gate. A massive hand of darkness lunges at Sieg. The assault is abrupt and hits them both. Pascal cries out for Diana in desperation, but Sieg manages to shield them. With a barrier of light, he unleashes a wind slash against the monster. The creature retaliates with several more strikes. As they attempt to flee, Sieg realizes they won't escape the boss unless they take action. He aimed to destroy the magic stone Daniela wields, but it's shielded by numerous barriers. Its weakness lies in the lightning element. Yet Sieg still can't harness that magic, given the strength of the barriers. Even if he taps into his powers, it won't suffice. With everything on the line, he has only a 20% chance of success, and his body can only handle advanced magic like that once. Going all in at this moment is reckless. Sieg could opt for a lower level spell to hold them off, but if he remains solely on the defensive, defeat is inevitable. He's at a loss for what to do. He's at a loss, unsure of his next move. Diana shouts for Sieg, declaring she's willing to act as the lure. Though she can't fight, with Sieg guarding her, she can escape. While the beast is focused on her, he can rescue Pascal and Emma. If she can't hold out long enough, they should all flee. Sieg argues it's too dangerous, but she stands firm. If they don't take the chance, more lives will be lost. Diana asserts she's prepared to risk her life, and she means it. She refuses to let more lives be taken because of her actions. Sieg feels anxious, but he grasps the gravity of the situation. Then he admits he shares her feelings. With a quick strike, Sieg severs both of the monster's arms. He follows up by vowing not to sacrifice Diana. He will shield her at all costs. Sieg claims he possesses the strength to do this. Due to an unexpected calamity, the boss he was supposed to defeat is now furious, and its sole vulnerability is lightning, which he cannot utilize. This feels like the kind of misfortune Sieg has faced before, but this time he must have a reservoir of luck saved up. If he can tap into it, victory in this fight is within reach. Sieg needs to summon the strength to defend those he loves. Sieg unleashes the underworld's magical scream. If he can shatter that, everyone will have a chance to escape. From that distance, he should be able to obliterate the magic stone. Suddenly, the monster's hands regenerate. Sieg is stunned. He didn't anticipate that. The creature's hands grip Sieg tightly. Pascal, Emma, and Princess Diana are in a frenzy. The enemy slams Sieg hard against the wall. Diana witnesses everything, exclaiming that can't be real. Out of nowhere, someone approaches her from behind. It's Daniela, her face twisted in fear. Diana stares horrified by the scene. On the ground, Sieg is shielded by a barrier of light he conjured. But he's teetering on the edge of unconsciousness. He must stay alert. He urges himself to rise. This isn't finished yet. A voice claims he's incredibly fortunate to have discovered the treasure, and Sieg opens his eyes astonished. A butterfly has settled on his nose. Sieg is puzzled. He's seen that butterfly before. What is it doing here? A voice explains that Butterfly came to connect her voice with that child. The MC wonders if the butterfly is speaking, but the voice is coming from elsewhere. The butterfly flutters toward something. It's an enormous sword. Sieg recalls his uncle mentioning that dungeons contain treasures capable of altering the world. The boy can hardly fathom that sword's existence. The weapon speaks in a dark tone, stating Sieg is far too small to wield it. Time should remedy that, but they can't afford to wait. Sieg wonders if the sword is aware of him, but that isn't the priority right now. If that truly is a sacred artifact, there's still hope. Sieg concludes he must seize it. The sword inquires if Sieg can rise, sensing his potential for treasure hunting. If that's true, take it and show what you can do. It's there to assist him. Diana sprints away from Daniela, shielded by the light barrier Sieg conjured. Pascal fights to escape. The princess is terrified by the unfolding chaos. Daniela attempts to strike Diana. The shield deflects the attack, but it shatters. The woman approaches, boasting that she finally shattered the shield and dealt with the brat. Daniela calls Diana a fool, claiming she has always annoyed her. But now it's time for her to vanish for good. A sudden crash erupts from behind her, just as she prepares her spell. Daniela is taken aback by the sight. Sieg has just lifted the enormous sword that awaited him. It magically shrinks. It reduces to a small sword, perfectly sized for Sieg. Diana is astonished and calls out to witness. Daniela is baffled by how that massive sword became so small and how Sieg is still standing. She orders the boss to finish this once and for all. But this time, the boy is prepared to battle. Sieg unleashes his wind magic, conjuring a storm aimed at the monster. Daniela is stunned by the spectacle. The attack strikes the enchanted stone. Sieg realizes he poured all his strength into it, yet he feels fine, like a superhero. The sword aids him. The MC concludes he can do this. He leaps high, launching himself toward the magic stone. With fire magic, he unleashes a torrent of flames. The stone and its defenses can't hold up. They shatter. Sieg crashes down. He can hardly believe he pulled it off. Diana rushes to him. She asks if he's all right. Zeke expresses gratitude for the chance to protect her, but Daniela suddenly blocks their path. She questions how everything could go wrong, despite all those magical tools. Daniela screams in exasperation, claiming they're all driving her mad. With the knife, she vows to tear them apart, even if it costs her life. She'll reduce them to a heap of flesh. Suddenly, something strikes Daniela's arm. She cries out in agony, collapsing as the knife slips from her grasp. Whatever hit her came from beyond the boss's chamber. It pierces through the gate. The gate explodes into fragments. A silhouette emerges behind it. Someone approaches, asking what Daniela is up to. It's Willie, enveloped in magical energy, carrying Camel on his shoulder. His eyes blaze with fury. Willie darkly inquires what Daniela thinks she's doing with the treasure he guards. Daniela glares at Willie, furious that he's still alive. Sieg is shocked to see his uncle wielding magic. Willie shatters the barrier that held Pascal and Emma captive. Pascal is astonished by how quickly he accomplished it. Pascal cradles Camille in his arms, filled with concern. Willie admits he forgave Camille, despite suspecting him of treachery, because Sieg would be heartbroken if Camille perished. Pascal is taken aback that even Camille might have been a traitor. Daniela fights to stay calm. Willie is still injured. If she unleashes all her magic at once, perhaps she stands a chance. She might just be able to eliminate him. The woman unleashes her dark sorcery at Willie. He sidesteps it with ease, unfazed by the attack. Fear grips Daniela. She can't comprehend how this is happening. Her magic had no impact on Willie. In a panic, she begins to flee, but suddenly something envelops her. Willie questions if she truly believes she can escape after injuring Sieg. She underestimated him, thinking she could eliminate him with a mere toy. He asserts that magic from his homeland cannot kill him. Daniela's expression turns to shock. She inquires if he means those magical artifacts originated from that land. Willie mentions that the magic stone she abandoned appears to be crafted by their magic academy. It's puzzling how she, a traitor to Estonia, is utilizing a magical asset from there that isn't even available for purchase. Daniela insists that's impossible. Willie asks her to clarify what she means by impossible. He claims to have gathered enough information and strikes at her leg. She cries out in agony. Willie explains he was trying to extract intel about the Magic Academy and desires every detail. Beyond her words, he aims to uncover the rest himself, but her head is all he requires. Daniela realizes she has no alternatives left, so she resorts to her emergency resource. In an instant, she disappears, reappearing a few meters away. She finds herself at the surface gate that opens after defeating the boss. Before vanishing, Daniela vows to remember the Red Mage. Willie launches an attack, but she teleports away just before the strike lands. He notes she used a teleportation stone to break free from the ice prison. While it can't take her out of the dungeon, it works within it. Willie feels a throbbing pain in his head. He's lost a significant amount of blood. From a distance, Sieg observes. His uncle arrived to assist, but Daniela has vanished. At last, it's all concluded. See Fates resting in Diana's lap. Willie rushes over to check on him. The man reassures Diana, saying he merely fainted from overexerting his magic. His life isn't in jeopardy. Diana expresses her gratitude to Willie for his assistance, but he admits he's deeply let down for being unable to do more. Once again, he arrived too late. The princess grows worried about Willie's emotions. He lifts Sieg into his arms, stating it's nothing. They should head to the continent's base to tend to everyone. Sieg also requires a good rest. The MC wonders if someone called out to him. It feels warm, gentle, and nostalgic. A beloved voice calls his name. It's Leah, his mother, cradling him. Leah chuckles, remarking how much Sieg has grown. When they were together, he was nearly the size of her hands. She's delighted to see him strong. She apologizes for the surprise, but this is her only opportunity to speak with Sieg. This was her final chance. Sieg starts to weep and embraces his mother tightly. The boy apologizes for his inability to assist her, but Leah reassures him it wasn't his fault. What she suffered from was beyond even his ability to heal. It was a curse. Sieg is taken aback. He had no idea it was a curse. Then Leah mentions she has something for him. It's the treasure she safeguarded for a long time, waiting for someone worthy like Sieg to appear. From now on, it will be his duty to protect it. This is the great treasure of the Abel family. She never intended to burden Sieg with that treasure. She wanted him to live freely, unencumbered. Yet this is their fate. She must pass that treasure to Sieg. The boy inquires about it. What exactly is the Abel family's treasure? Leah explains that before discussing that, they need to address God. Long ago, a deity fashioned the human realm. He cherished his creation so much that he roamed it, spending time within. However, a conflict erupted among the gods to decide their ruler. Even the human god feared losing his dominion and forsaking humanity. To avert catastrophe, he sacrificed his essence, the source of his might, casting it into the human realm to evade the gods. The remnants transformed into sacred artifacts scattered throughout various locations, concealed in dungeons. The most unique piece was entrusted to a human, passed down through the ages. The Abel family, including her and Sieg, was chosen by the god to safeguard the most vital fragment of his soul. No one ever revealed what ultimately happened to the creator. The tale was handed down through generations alongside the treasure. Yet it appears there are individuals who are aware of the secret. They've never discovered the identities of these individuals. That treasure possesses the potential to alter the world and remains highly coveted. It's a significant weight to bear alone, and that's her sole regret. Sieg gently pulls away from Leah. He tells her she's an amazing mother. Even in death, she's striving to protect him. He grins, assuring her there's no need for concern. Whatever lies ahead, he'll confront it. He possesses the strength to do so. Moreover, he has a support system. Sieg mentions he has a family that advised him against solitude, friends on similar journeys, a loyal pet, and he'll encounter more people. He treasures many significant things and aims to protect that world. That's why he will now embody the treasure of the Abel family. Sieg vows to his mother that he'll live freely and not let anything trouble him once this concludes. He will always care for those dear to him. Tears well up in his eyes. Then she embraces her son tightly. Leah remarks on his remarkable growth, urging Sieg not to be too hard on himself and to prioritize his happiness. She wants him to truly live, to live alongside his family and those he cherishes. Sieg agrees, promising to do it for his mother's sake. A man appears behind Leah, stating it's time for her departure. Leah expresses gratitude to the guide for fulfilling her final wish. She bids farewell, telling Sieg that the treasure now belongs to him. She can no longer assist him in the same way, but she will always be with him, watching over him. Sieg reaches out, but his mother vanishes, transforming into butterflies. Leah tells him that whenever he spots a butterfly, he should always remember his mother will be by his side. Sieg awakens, tears streaming down his face as he calls for his mother. Suddenly, Haku excitedly lands on him. Haku exclaims that he finally woke up. Someone calls out to the boy. It's Theo and his father, both relieved to see him well. Sieg smiles, assuring them he's fine and that he had a wonderful dream. He asks if they are on the surface, and his father replies that he spoke with Willie, and they just arrived. Gilbert mentions that Princess Diana is safe, but due to recent events, the kingdom is currently sealed off. A rebellion has erupted in the Kingdom of Estonia, and Diana is suspected of orchestrating it all. Near the dungeon at an inn in Koan, someone apologizes for the unannounced visit. However, the situation is pressing. They request to reserve accommodations for the Abel family for the next 3 days, offering to pay for 3 months' worth of rooms. They'll also cover the expenses of explaining the circumstances. The manager inquires about what's happening. Theo states it's a confidential matter and cannot be discussed. If the manager sees or hears anything, he must keep it under wraps. Someone secures the door. Willie confirms it's done, and they need not worry about outsiders. Gilbert expresses his gratitude. Gilbert apologizes for not introducing himself sooner, then reveals he is the captain of the first knights of the kingdom of Mengesta. He learns she faced difficulties in the dungeon and feels relieved she's safe. Diana expresses gratitude, crediting Siegbert and Willie. Fuming, Pascal demands to know what they mean by a rebellion led by Diana on their land. Gilbert explains it was minor and already under control, but when Diana was imprisoned, the rebellion struck the capital of Estonia. Diana worries about the citizens and inquires if they were harmed. Gilbert reassures her that nothing significant occurred to the populace. However, Prince Tobias labeled Diana as the mastermind and called for her capture across other lands. The girl ponders this while Pascal insists they were locked up so they couldn't have orchestrated anything. Sega concurs there's no way Diana could have pulled that off. He recalls her offering herself as bait. He informs his father that Diana was even prepared to sacrifice herself for their safety. Someone with that mentality wouldn't instigate a rebellion. Diana begins to speak, but Gilbert interrupts, confirming his suspicions. He mentions receiving warnings from Willie regarding threats to the princess's safety. C realizes his uncle had indeed been in touch with an outsider. Gilbert states that Prince Tobias hasn't provided any solid proof of Diana's wrongdoing. Numerous aspects of the situation remain unclear. Willie remarks that it all seems like a poorly thought-out scheme, as if the true aim was merely to eliminate Princess Diana. They've heard whispers about Prince Tobias's cruelty and tyranny, and the royal family's dynamics appear unhealthy. Gilbert reprimands Willie for voicing such opinions in front of the princess. Diana asserts she doesn't want a conflict that would affect the citizens. Her brother would never resort to such actions. Gilbert takes a moment to reflect. He then calls for the princess. He states their intention is to ensure her safety. Willie emphasizes the seriousness of the situation. She's a princess from another continent, suspected of inciting a rebellion. Gilbert responds that he won't allow such injustice. Furthermore, he won't let an innocent child face danger for something she didn't commit. Willie replies that if that's his brother's position, he'll always stand by him. He was already safeguarding the princess and her companions. Moreover, they were already linked to the Kingdom of Estonia due to an incident they're probing. Utilizing the princess and the count could be advantageous, and ignoring Sieg's first friend might leave him feeling down. Sieg beams, thrilled, and expresses his gratitude to his uncle and father. Pascal vows to remember such generosity, while Emma also thanks them, equally enthusiastic. Willie inquires if he can borrow the damaged magic cancellation stone. He mentions that the magical artifact originated in Cohen, ruled by the Abel family, so he can assist in its repair for her to hide again. Gilbert expresses gratitude to his brother, stating that when the time comes, he'll inform the royal family. Willie notes that negotiations will be essential and resources may be limited. But he has a plan. Sieg and Diana. They look at Willie, puzzled. Then the man proposes they could seek Diana and her group's help. Once everything is prepared, they should go to the Abel family's estate. They can remain hidden there until the situation calms down. Diana promises to repay their kindness. With her head lowered, the princess expresses her gratitude. Willie steps back, stating they have another mission to attend to. Sieg appears confused. The man mentions there's still one more individual he needs to speak with. Kamel recalls Daniela saying that no one would mourn his absence. He questions if Diana is his sole reason to live or die. There's no way he can accept that. If no one would care if he passed, then he must live in shame. Suddenly the boy awakens. Diana stands before him. In that instant, the boy is stunned to see Diana alive. But as he attempts to rise, pain shoots through the spot where he was hit. Diana cautions him not to overexert himself. He attempts to rise, but pain shoots through the spot where he was hit. Don't overdo it, Diana warns. Pascal cautions her to maintain her distance. Tears well up in Diana's eyes as she expresses her relief that Camilla is alive. Kamel is taken aback by her admission. Willie mentions that Kamel is still not completely recovered. The boy is shocked to see the Red Mage, and Willie states he has some questions about the accusation against Princess Diana. He informs them that Mangesta's knights have surrounded the vicinity. Camille has no chance of escaping. Sieg senses a different energy from his uncle, a sign of the third captain of the magical corps. Kamel is taken by surprise. He then declares he won't attempt to run away. He kneels before Willie, offering an apology. His attack on Willie was reckless, but he knows bowing his head won't resolve anything. He's prepared to face the repercussions. However, he finds little to say to Willie. Willie assures him he understands, and even if Camille isn't foolish, this will be a straightforward interrogation. The man inquires how long Kamel has been with Daniela, to which Kamel replies since they entered the dungeon. Daniela grew suspicious when she noticed Willie conversing with someone from outside, believing he was plotting against Diana. Willie questions whether Camille believed her without any hesitation. Pascal explains that the princess's guards are chosen from the most seasoned knights. Defying them is akin to dishonoring the nobles who endorsed them. Willie, intrigued, asks, who put forth Daniela's recommendation? Pascal reveals she was recommended by Marquis Beaker, an aide to Prince Tobias. The man begins to connect the dots. Willie probes if Camille knows anything else about Daniela, and he replies that she doesn't engage with the other guards, simply performing her duties quietly. He states he has one final inquiry. Willie wants Camille to share what he knows about the rebellion in Estonia, for which Diana is being blamed. Kamal becomes agitated, questioning what rebellion they are referring to, deeming it ridiculous. Confused, Willie asks if Camille genuinely knows nothing about it, and Camille insists he doesn't, claiming it makes no sense and they shouldn't suspect the princess. He exclaims that he has spent most of the last few months with the princess. She never displayed any signs of betrayal. Someone who cares for him wouldn't act that way. Princess Diane is touched by Kamal's words. Willie tell him to calm down. No one here suspects the princess, but he can't simply take Kamal's word for it. Trust is hard to come by. Camel urges Willie to use his magic to determine if he's lying. Willie responds that since Camille is agreeable, he'll delve into his mind. The boy panics, but Willie reassures him that he doesn't need to go that deep. There's a magical device designed to access nonverbal memories. However, it has never been tested on a living person. Thus, he can't predict the level of pain or side effects it might cause. Sieg objects, claiming it's excessive, but Willie insists that merely observing from the outside won't confirm the truth. If Camille is indeed a guard loyal to Princess Diana, they might uncover proof of her innocence. Then he asks if Camille is willing to provide them with credible information. The man grows anxious. He's uncertain if he wants that. He recalls the princess expressing her happiness about his survival, and it ignites his anger. Diana attempts to address Willie, but Camille interjects, saying he understands. With his head bowed, he accepts the proposal. He can demonstrate the princess's innocence, and there's no reason to hesitate. Camille is determined to take responsibility for his shortcomings as the princess's guard. He no longer wants to be a fool. Willie grins, noting that Camille shows remarkable resolve. Now it's time to test his bravery. Camille looks perplexed. Willie suggests he might as well seek additional assistance. The teleportation stone requires a second trial. Once he peers into Camille's mind, he figures they could make him work for 3 days and nights without rest. The magical item won't kill him. Willie tells Camille he can't back out after inadvertently blowing him up, so he'll have to accept whatever punishment awaits. Willie seizes Camille by the arm, stating he's taking him. He'll send a kind letter later and asks Sieg to convey his regards to his brother. Before anyone can react, Willie and Camel disappear. Sieg and Diana lock eyes. Tears well up in the girl's eyes as Sieg reassures her that it's all right. His uncle is generally nice. Diana glances down and murmurs, she needs to figure out her next steps. Sieg recalls lying on the ground, calling out to the princess. He tells her she doesn't have to shoulder everything alone. It's perfectly fine to seek help. Many challenges have arisen, but she can rely on Pascal and Emma. She can also depend on everyone in the Abel family. And on top of that, he stands by her. So, everything will turn out fine. Together, they'll overcome it all. The princess feels emotional but nods in agreement with Sieg. He's pleased by her response. He wonders if it's due to his bad luck, or perhaps it's merely a coincidence. With the power to reshape reality, unforeseen challenges are sure to arise. Sieg wishes to prevent any sacrifices, so he will become even more powerful. Days later, laughter echoes in Majestic Castle. Someone inquires about what transpired, and Prince Julius reveals he received a letter from Willie. He ponders how that even came to be. The Abel family's schemes are intriguing. It likely pertains to the treasure. Julius mentions he'll soon meet with the Abel family, so they should clear his agenda. He states they made a ridiculous request, but that's acceptable, because it means they can ask for something equally outrageous in return. A voice calls out for Sieg. His siblings greet him, expressing their concern for his well-being. Albert admits he was worried when he learned the boy was in a dungeon. He's relieved he's safe. Maria announces that to celebrate Sieg's safe return, she has prepared something special. She then places a unique tiara on his head. She beams, saying it looks stunning on her brother. Albert concurs. Sieg attempts to protest that he's a boy, but Albert counters that beautiful things for beautiful children have no gender. Someone calls for Maria and Albert. It's Theo, who mentions that Sieg is tired and needs to rest. Plus, Princess Diana seems shaken. Albert apologizes to the princess, stating he was meant to guide her. Diana reassures him it's fine and it's heartwarming to see them getting along. They've arranged a separate residence for her until everything is resolved. They'll do everything possible to ensure her safe departure. Maria tells Diana that if she needs anything, she should feel free to ask. The princess expresses her gratitude for their kindness. Sieg promises to visit her whenever he can, planning to bring books and delightful sweets. The girl beams, saying she eagerly anticipates his visits. He bids farewell to Diana, Pasquale, and Emma. Excited, Maria comments on how close Sieg is to Diana, but the boy deflects, insisting they're just friends. In his room, Sieg embraces Haku. He's thrilled to be home. After everything, being back in his own space feels soothing. Haku agrees that Sieg's room is the best. Sieg only sought the magical sand from the spirit forest. He never anticipated it would lead to all this. What did it all result in? A magical sword. Since acquiring it, he's heard its voice. Thanks to it, he can wield advanced magic without tiring. Perhaps he received it due to his good fortune. Even with his keen eyes, the specifics of that weapon remain a mystery. His assistant mentions the sword is bound by an enigmatic power. He attempted to analyze it but couldn't. Some things elude even him. Frustrated, the assistant insists that if Sieg grants him more time, he'll uncover something. Sieg realizes the sword's voice was aware of the treasure's existence. The dungeons were designed to conceal fragments of the creator's essence, aligning with the treasure's nature. He gazes at the Abel family's treasure, contemplating that this might indeed be true. Sieg feels overwhelmed. There's so much he doesn't grasp. He vowed to his mother to safeguard the treasure, yet he craves deeper knowledge about it. Should he consult his father or search for hints in the family library? Meanwhile, he must also focus on honing his magical skills. Sieg wishes his uncle would instruct him once more, but it's a secret that he possesses advanced magical abilities. He's at a loss for what to do. The protagonist realizes he won't progress if he continues to keep so many secrets. Even if he's uncertain about how others will respond, or if it might lead to complications, it's time for him to place his trust in his family. Far from there, Gilbert inquires of Willie about Prince Julius's response. Willie replies that the prince will decide after hearing the full story. Today's task involves clarifying the situation and seeking collaboration. Gilbert grumbles about having to negotiate with Julius, but Willie chuckles, noting his brother isn't obliged to do it, especially since he's not skilled at it. The prince is notoriously challenging to deal with in these situations. In a secluded spot, the prince awaits their arrival. Gilbert expresses regret for keeping Julius waiting, but the prince assures him it's fine. He's been occupied here. He then begins discussing when he read Willie's letter. Suddenly, he bursts into laughter. Willie remarks that he doesn't recall the letter being that amusing. Julius agrees it wasn't. He mentions having numerous questions, but first, he wants to address their objective. Julius asks why they chose to protect Diana, even if it means opposing Estonia. Even better, what makes them seek a favor from Princess Diana? He wonders if there's something on that continent truly worth such effort. Willie admits he doesn't expect Julius to fully grasp the letter, but the objective is straightforward. They seek information regarding Estonia's Magic Academy. Julius questions why they would want details about his continent from Estonia's academy. Willie clarifies that assassins from there were utilizing items from the magic school. As he knows, the academy is a fortress, safeguarded by its educational role. Stealing items from there is impossible. Yet, someone within is sending those items to Estonia, so they need to identify that individual. The Abel family had relatives cursed by someone long ago. Willie has been on the hunt for those responsible for years, but he couldn't track them down, and the cursed individual ultimately perished. Recent events have heightened his concern. Julius concludes that this is about the treasure. The Abel family cannot conduct a proper investigation into the Magic Academy. The prince states that the place falls under international jurisdiction. They harbor no affection for the royal family or the Abels. It's an ideal hiding spot. They also wish to investigate, but noble heirs are present as students, preventing reckless actions. Willie asserts that they can't obtain internal information, so they must conduct their investigation externally. No matter how secure the academy is, information will inevitably leak. Julius explains that this is why he wants to utilize Princess Diana as an initial secure channel. Yet that feels somewhat contradictory. It doesn't align with Willie's usual approach. Gilbert insists that regardless of how contradictory the method may be, the Abel family will never forgive anyone who attempts to steal their treasure. They will track down the one who took a family member's life and ensure they pay. Julius acknowledges Gilbert's motivation. However, at this juncture, there's no benefit for the royal family to cooperate. The Abel family's treasure remains an enigma, not something they deem worth protecting. Willie argues that information about the Magic Academy could also be advantageous for the royal family. Julius counters that it depends, and it's insufficient reason to instigate a war. He has maintained a long-standing relationship with the Abel family, but safeguarding someone suspected of rebellion seems illogical to him. Moreover, he begins to comment on the other negotiation referenced in the letter. Then he bursts into laughter again. Willie protests, claiming it's not amusing. Julius apologizes, admitting he didn't comprehend it. He inquires if it's about safeguarding Princess Diana. Willie beams and confirms. The prince steps forward, stating he has a proposal. If they agree, he might consent to the negotiation with Estonia. He wants Willie to accept a noble title. Willie appears puzzled, prompting Julius to elaborate. The prince intends to bind Willie with the constraints of a noble title, effectively trapping him in a gilded cage for life. Willie observes Julius in silence. The prince remarks that Willie's magical innovations have greatly advanced the nation's technology. He is also engaged in numerous battles and gathered rare artifacts. Such power could destabilize a nation. A talent like that in the wrong hands could spell disaster for another continent. Willie questions whether Julius suspects him of betraying his homeland. Passing William Penn, Julia clarifies that's not his implication, but the possibility exists. Willie's primary concern is his family. He shows no interest in the royal family. If he were as devoted and loyal as Gilbert, it would be simpler, but he isn't. Thus, binding him with a contract is the safer option. Only then can they be certain Willie won't turn against them. Willie wonders if Julius is overthinking this. The prince chuckles, urging Willie to envision the worst possible outcome. They value him too much to risk him becoming a threat to the continent's safety. So far, Willie has evaded this situation, raising concerns for the state. Accepting will simplify his future. Julius inquires about his desires. Will he accept the title and remain in Mendesda? Or does he prefer to send the princess back to Estania? The choice is his. Willie places a hand on his hip and exhales deeply. He then states he comprehends and agrees to His Highness's request. Julia beams, pleased to hear such a favorable response. Julius mentions he'll need to arrange a few things to bestow the title. The ceremony is set for a month from now. If Willie isn't prepared, negotiations will be off. With an official title, Willie will have a stronger foothold in Megesta. Willie observes that Julius is quite the shrewd individual. Julius takes his leave, assuring him he'll handle the ceremony preparations, and they need not fret about the negotiations with Estonia. He never disappoints and looks forward to the investiture ceremony. Willie and Gilbert linger after the prince exits. Gilbert admits he was taken aback, while Willie remarks that Julius has a knack for hitting sensitive spots. His brother points out that receiving a title is a privilege. It's his opportunity to stop wandering aimlessly. Willie counters that his skills are nearing their limits, and this could be beneficial. He's okay with it, as long as it's for the sake of those he cherishes. After conquering the dungeon and claiming the treasure, some kind of trigger was activated. Now he has no choice but to seek purpose. Gilbert suggests constructing a new mansion near the Able estate. Willie declines, stating he doesn't intend to visit frequently. He'll opt for a summer home. The current issue is finding a retainer in such a limited time frame. It appears he won't be able to borrow any from Gilbert. The Able family harbors many secrets, so they can't just recruit anyone. It must be someone trustworthy. Then Willie recalls Theo's friend. He concludes that he's the ideal candidate. In the forest, Nikolai is battling monsters. At the Able mansion, Nikolai questions his presence. Sieg admits he's unsure. Theo explains that his uncle requested him to invite Nikolai and bring Sieg along. Theo was surprised to learn it was regarding a noble title. Nikolai fears he'll be reprimanded for taking Theo to fight monsters, but the boy clarifies that it's already been discovered. Willie approaches, apologizing for the delay. He then expresses gratitude to Nikolai for responding to his unexpected summons. Nikolai feels anxious, stating it's an honor to meet Willie. The man chuckles, encouraging the boy to speak freely. Willie mentions he wants to discuss something concerning Sieg. Nikolai appears puzzled. Then the man asks without hesitation if Nikolai would like to become his retainer. Nikolai is taken aback and astonished. He then inquires why him, and Willie explains that Nikolai hasn't received a title yet, and he was in search of a retainer. He should be aware of Sieg's unique magic from their previous encounters, yet he never mentioned it. Thus, Willie chose him for his discretion. The Able family has many crucial secrets. As his retainer, he wants Nikolai to serve as Sieg's bodyguard. The boy looks bewildered. Then, Willie clarifies that being his retainer is merely a title the prince insists upon. Nikolai reflects on the honor of working for the Able family. They often find it puzzling that he serves Sieg. Willie presents a contract to Nikolai. He vows to keep any details about Sieg confidential, even if it costs him his life. Everyone involved in the siege has signed that document. In exchange, the Able family provides for them and offers a generous deal. Willie brings up Nikolai's sister. Sieg recalls that he had previously mentioned his ill sister. The Bodden family turned down help and ultimately fell apart. To care for his sister, Nikolai sold everything they owned and now resides in a tiny shack. Theo is taken aback. He had no idea the mansion was sold. Nikolai mentions he did that some time ago. He sold it because he couldn't protect the house anymore. Willie inquires if a cure has yet to be discovered. Nikolai confirms that all the doctors have given up. Now he can only attempt to treat her with magical herbs. The man states that, with his magical vision, he might uncover the reason behind Nikolai's sister's illness. Nikolai is astonished, and Willie mentions he has never encountered anyone with such a gift, so it's worth a shot. Even if they only identify the cause, if Nikolai becomes his subordinate, Willie will take on the task of finding rare herbs and paying for them. It's a highly advantageous offer. Nikolai asks if Willie can genuinely save his sister Sarah. Willie assures him he doesn't betray Theo and Sieg's friends. Clenching his fist, Nikolai acknowledges he understands. He then states he will accept Willie's proposal. Theo warns that breaking the contract could cost a life. Nikolai has learned that risking one's life is sometimes essential to gain what you desire. He is determined to protect his sister no matter the cost. Thus, he signs the contract. Willie advises against that mindset, but then he adds, it's irrelevant. The contract is signed, and he's relieved that things will proceed smoothly. Nikolai and Willie shake hands. Then Willie exits the room. Thrilled, Nikolai exclaims he can't believe he's now Sieg's bodyguard. The MC admits he's surprised too, but having him around is comforting. Nikolai jokes that he's now a subordinate, so the boy can drop the formalities. Sieg wonders if all this red tape was truly necessary due to the negotiations with Estanya. It seems more complex than he anticipated. Nikolai notes he needs to inform Sarah and the servants. Since they'll be staying for a while, they need to be on the same page. Theo calls out to Nikolai. He asks if they can have a moment to talk. Nikolai inquires about the issue, but Theo appears furious. He demands to know why Nikolai sold the mansion and why he never mentioned it. The young man explains that Theo had already done so much for him and he didn't want to add to his financial burdens. Nikolai insists he's not Theo's friend because he belongs to the Abel family, so exploiting his family's status felt wrong. Theo asks how Nikolai would feel if he had a way to assist a friend, but only learned about it when it was too late. Nikolai attempts to reply, but Theo interrupts, saying that even if they couldn't discuss money, he could have introduced him to his uncle. If Nikolai had confided in him, they might have found a mutually beneficial solution. Theo insists that if Nikolai couldn't manage it alone, he should have sought help. As a friend, Nikolai apologizes to Theo for not reaching out, but the boy walks away, stating he'll prepare a room for him and his sister. He then asks if Nikolai needs any specific furniture, but Nikolai replies it's unnecessary. Frustrated, Theo insists he's doing it because he wants to. Nikolai then mentions that Sarah prefers white rooms. They soothe her. He then expresses his gratitude to Theo. The boy pauses, glances at Nikolai, and offers a small smile. Then he says he's welcome to stay. Days pass. Sieg mentions that Nikolai's family is on their way. Maria lights up, excited about the influx of guests lately. It's a positive sign. Just family can feel a bit isolating. Out of nowhere, Nikolai, his sister, and a roommate materialize in the room. Nikolai is taken aback by the teleportation. He checks on Sarah, who assures him she's fine. Maria greets the Bodain family warmly, introducing herself and offering to show them to their rooms. Nikolai suddenly approaches, pleased to meet Theo's sister. He then turns to Sieg, suggesting the boy spend some time with his sister since they're similar in age. Maria scolds Nikolai for being impolite to Sieg. He tries to clarify that he always speaks to the boy like that, but she's not interested. Sarah tells Nikolai she gets that he's cheerful, but it's rude not to greet people properly. Nikolai introduces his loyal servants, the Hana couple, who stayed with them even after selling the mansion. Next, Sarah introduces herself and apologizes for her appearance. Maria brushes it off, happy to meet her. Sarah inquires about her brother's master, and Maria explains that her Uncle Willie is away. The girl requests to speak with the master. She insists she doesn't need treatment and wants her brother's contract to be annulled. Both Maria and Nikolai are taken aback. He asks what's wrong, noting she seemed fine just yesterday. Sieg asks what happened, worried he might have offended her, but Sarah reassures him he's kind. However, her brother is giving up everything for her, and she refuses to accept that. Nikolai grips her shoulders, insisting that's not the case. He reassures her it's okay. He would do anything for her. But Sarah disagrees. She pleads with him not to do anything more. Then she declares she's going home. Before she can exit, she trips and falls. Sieg catches her mid-fall. Sarah feels humiliated for collapsing in front of everyone. Sieg apologizes for grabbing her so abruptly. Her maid notices Sarah has a fever, prompting Maria to say she'll take her to her room. Even if she wants to leave, rest is essential. Sarah agrees and follows her servants along with Maria. From afar, Nikolai watches, concern etched on his face for his sister. Frustration builds within him. He's so close to finding a cure. Theo asks if Nikolai informed her that the contract could cost him his life. He replies no, but she always catches on quickly. Sieg notices the deep pain on Nikolai's face, a testament to his ongoing battle with the illness. Nikolai walks away, determined to persuade Sarah. Theo urges him to pause and think before acting. Sieg invites Nikolai to the garden, suggesting that flowers might lift her spirits. He believes that if they communicate properly, she'll come to understand. After all, they are siblings. Nikolai nods, grateful for Sieg's encouragement. At Sarah's bedroom door, Haku starts sniffing around, having caught a whiff of something unusual. Maria checks on Sarah, asking how she feels. The girl replies she's better and apologizes for the inconvenience, but Maria reassures her it's no trouble. She must be enduring a lot. Sarah laments that everyone around her suffers because of her. Maria agrees but emphasizes that Nikolai genuinely cares for her. Moreover, it's not either of their faults. Tears well up in her eyes. Sarah cries that everything is fading away and it's her fault for losing it all. Then Maria asks, what happened to make her feel this way? Sarah explains her illness has worsened over the years. Her father is passed, and her brother and everyone else have done everything possible for her. Yet, despite their efforts, she hasn't improved. Eventually, they discovered a magical herb that could ease her symptoms. But with that, their finances slowly dwindled. Eventually, they had to part with the mansion. She discovered it was to pay for the magical herb. She was stunned, unable to utter a single word. The home filled with family memories lay in ruins, transformed into medicine. Now, even drinking the magical herb feels impossible for her. Yet, if she avoids it, the illness will take over. She can't let her brother witness her pain, so she has no choice. From then on, every penny her brother earns goes toward medicine. Still, she remains unwell. Maria inquires if Sarah has any updates on Nikolai's contract. Sarah replies no, but when she heard they wanted to examine her, unease washed over her. She questioned if he was risking his life. But she consents when her brother isn't being truthful, so she quickly grasped the situation. Her love for her brother runs deep. Nikolai was always there for her, both during their father's life and after his passing. He shared incredible tales, and he never forgot her favorite flowers. Sarah can't fathom life without him, yet she feels compelled to push him away. He would do anything for her, but not at the expense of his own life. That's something she absolutely cannot accept. Sarah starts to say more, but Maria quickly embraces her. She tells Sierra she's been incredibly strong and appreciates her for sharing secrets she never revealed. Tears well up in the girl's eyes. Crying, Sarah expresses her desire to laugh with her brother again, longing for genuine happiness. But she feels lost on how to achieve that. Outside the room, Nikolai overhears Sarah's talk with Maria. C grows concerned for the young man. Nikolai instructs C to take the flowers to his sister and walks away. Sieg attempts to call out to him, but the boy remains silent. Nikolai feels he can't face Sarah looking like this. Her love for him is too strong. He departs. Sieg is left holding a vase filled with stunning flowers. Willie tells Theo he comprehends the entire situation. He has no intention of using his magical abilities without consent, so they should observe for a while. It seems the siblings require some space. Nikolai sits in the garden looking despondent. Sieg approaches him. Nikolai shares that their father succumbed to an illness when Sarah was just a child. It happened so suddenly. He had never witnessed their father in such a weakened state. Perhaps due to that shock, Sarah's health deteriorated significantly. He feared she would meet the same fate as their father. That thought consumed him. Nikolai admits he was terrified. Losing his sister would mean he couldn't go on. So he desperately sought help, calling numerous doctors. Thanks to magical herbs, she improved slightly. Afterward, Nikolai sacrificed everything to support her. He couldn't carry on their father's legacy, which had been built with such effort. If only he had been wiser as a child, perhaps he could have managed things better. All of this stemmed from his own inadequacy, yet he didn't want to burden anyone, so he tried to handle it all alone. But by shouldering everything himself, he only ended up hurting his friends and family more. Nigel Lai calls him a fool. He thought he was protecting everyone, but he was merely being naive. He knew he wasn't strong enough to bear it all alone. Yet he forgot how to rely on others. Now it seems like it's too late for any of that. He's already lost everything, Sarah's beloved house and all their father's hard work. He keeps insisting that he's the one who ruined everything. See, he watches him for a brief moment. Then he mentions that at least Nikolai managed to protect his sister, the person who matters most to him. He fought fiercely to safeguard her. Nikolai feels sorrowful and attempts to speak, but Sieg counters that the mansion, trust, and joy can be rebuilt. He's striving to grow stronger. Still, it's crucial to remember that once life is lost, there's no way back. Sieg rises and declares that Nikolai can begin anew and reclaim what he has lost. There are those ready to share that burden and assist him. Sieg states that he, Theo, and even Sarah are eager to help, so Nikolai can't afford to give up now. He must rise and move forward once more. But this time, they'll do it together. Something grabs Nikolai's attention. It's Sarah. Maria brought her here. The girl mentions that Nikolai didn't return by sunset, which made her anxious. She asks if he's upset because of her selfishness and begins to apologize. But Nikolai stands up smiling at her, assuring her he's not angry. Nikolai tells her he understands and knows Sarah is concerned for him. Then he admits she's right. He made a life contract to keep a secret he can't share. But that also shows his master trusts him to uphold his promise. So he vows he won't die before her, but to honor his master's truth and spare her from sadness. She must agree to be examined by Willie. If they find a remedy, she can heal. He recalls Sieg saying he wanted to share his burden and walk alongside him. Nervously, Nikolai asks Sarah if she can assist him. It feels selfish to ask after all she's endured, but he can't bear the thought of losing her. If she stays by his side, he believes he can start anew. Sarah says she feels the same way. She has always wanted to do something for her brother. The girl declares she won't be defeated by that illness and will definitely recover to support her brother. There's no suffering while he's around, and she's managed to stay alive by his side until now. She takes Nikolai's hand and affirms it's all true. He nods in agreement and apologizes to his sister. Later, Willie visited Sarah's room to check on her. He used his keen eyes to assess her condition. Willie states he understands, and it's no wonder no doctor could resolve the issue. Her issue is magical saturation. It's a state where the magic within the body cannot be released, leading to accumulation and various problems. That's why she has dark blisters. This condition is extremely rare. Sarah appears to produce a lot of natural magic. That should be beneficial, but her weak magic release ability results in this condition. He had been curious why the magical herb worked, but now it's clear she can absorb magic. Nikolai inquires if Sarah will recover. Willie remains silent for a moment. Then he replies, yes, there is a cure for Sarah. Nikolai feels a surge of excitement, but Willie warns there's a complication. She's in peril due to the excessive magic buildup. To heal her, they must release that magic, which involves using cursed magic, a dilemma. Nikolai asks if Willie can't use it, and he responds with a no. Among all magical powers, cursed magic stands out as the most elusive. Those who master it often lose their humanity. In simpler terms, they descend into madness. Trusting someone like that with Sarah is out of the question. Nikolai wonders if the herbs might suffice. Willie counters that there's a limit to her intake. The only person capable of aiding her possesses the cursed magic trait, but locating such an individual is incredibly challenging. Frustration builds in Nikolai. He had finally glimpsed a flicker of hope. Seg steps forward to Willie, declaring he will take on the task. Yet anxiety and confusion wash over him. He offers to help find someone who can rescue Sarah. Nikolai questions if anyone like that truly exists. Sieg affirms that they do. He urges Nikolai to have faith in him. Nikolai nods in agreement. He insists they must persist in their search for assistance. He turns to Willie, asking for their next steps. Willie replies that he will seek out users of cursed magic. For now, Nikolai should remain by Sarah's side. As they depart, Willie reminds him to administer the correct doses of the magical herbs. An overdose could be fatal. Sieg is done with secrets. It's time for a fresh start. But the boy must muster the courage to speak up. He calls out to his uncle. Curious, his uncle asks what's happening. Sieg replies that he has something important to share. Nervousness begins to creep in. He starts to sweat. Words escape him. Finally, he admits he possesses advanced magical abilities. This includes cursed magic. Willie inquires if he can take a closer look. Sieg agrees, deciding it's time to stop hiding. He discloses everything to his uncle. All his skills and attributes come to light. He then apologizes, explaining he kept it secret to avoid burdening the family. But now he is determined to save Sarah. He possesses the necessary power. Willie bursts into laughter. Sieg is left bewildered. Willie admits he suspected Sieg had more abilities, but not to this extent. He managed to conceal all of this from Willie's magical perception. Willie asks if he's been hiding this since birth. Sieg feels anxious. He struggles to find the right words for his uncle. He's uncertain about how much to reveal, whether to share his magical vision or his past life. Willie expresses his apologies to his nephew. He assures Sieg he will be mindful of his feelings. It seems Sieg is far more extraordinary than he realized. Perhaps he has a mysterious origin, just like Willie. Sieg is taken aback by his uncle's words. Willie confides that he too has secrets, things he must keep hidden even from family. That's just the way it is. He understands the struggle of not being able to open up. He tells Sieg to share only when he's ready. Perhaps one day they can share everything. Sieg realizes this isn't about Frau and wonders if his uncle has a secret as significant as his, a secret that is just as special. Willie shifts back to the topic, stating that since Sieg has all these magical traits, he can assist with their needs, but training will be essential. The boy requests his uncle's guidance. Willie advises him not to rush. Cursed magic is formidable, but it requires sacrifices from its wielders. Sieg appears capable of mastering it independently. Ideally, he wouldn't want Sieg to delve into that kind of magic. But given Sieg's determination, it might be safer for him to teach. Willie announces they'll begin right away. Mastering advanced magic won't be as easy as it once was. Sieg vows to give it his all. He's ready to tackle advanced magic training. It was daunting to discuss, but he's relieved he did. His uncle reacted positively. Sieg refuses to regret not using his abilities again. This time, he's determined to save her. A letter flutters into Willie's window. It's from the royal family. As anticipated, Prince Julius has already initiated talks. Now, they must wait to see how Estonia will react to the proposal. Meanwhile, in the Kingdom of Estonia, the prince shoves an attendant, yelling that he's being absurd. He demands to know the contents of the letter. The servant urges Tobias to calm down. Furious, Tobias questions why they won't return Diana peacefully and what interest Mangesta and the Abel family have in her. The man explains that the royal family suggested inviting Diana and the Mangesta members for negotiations. They likely want to avoid escalating tensions. Tobias claims he understands the situation, so they have a plan too. They'll invite them to Estonia. This way, they can confront the Abel family and eliminate Diana. A few days later, at the mansion, Maria celebrates finishing a special outfit for Sarah. The girl apologizes for troubling Maria with such lovely clothing, but Maria insists it's no issue. Being the only woman in the family, she enjoys dressing someone up. She used to dress Sieg in adorable outfits, but he eventually resisted, forcing her to stop. Yet, this makes her feel like she has a little sister, which brings her immense joy. Sarah admits she feels the same way about Maria. Then she quickly tries to retract her statement. Maria reminds her that today is the day of the treatment. Her uncle found someone skilled in cursed magic sooner than she expected. Sarah wonders if everything will go smoothly. Maria reassures her that all will be well. Sarah will transform and become a strong girl capable of aiding Nikolai. Maria praises the outfit and encourages Sarah to believe in her best self. The girl nods in agreement. She definitely needs to change. At the room's entrance, Theo states their uncle instructed that only Sarah can enter, while everyone else waits outside. Maria inquires about Sieg, and Theo replies he hasn't seen him since morning. Nikolai notes that Sarah must be anxious, but his master will do everything possible. If anything goes wrong, he'll step in. Nervous, Nikolai starts to reassure everyone that it will be fine. Theo tells him to get a grip. With a smile, Sarah states that everything will be fine. She announces she's going in but will return shortly. Nikolai agrees. He wishes his sister good luck before she shuts the door behind her. As she steps inside, Sieg greets her. Sarah is taken aback to see Sieg in there. Willie insists this must remain a secret, so Sarah will need to sign a contract. It's the same one her brother signed. The contract prohibits her from discussing the treatment. Sieg will honor it. Sarah is left speechless and bewildered. Sieg clarifies that he has control over cursed magic and can assist her. Willie mentions that Sieg is younger, but he's an exceptional mage. He guarantees it. She just needs to have faith. Sarah expresses her trust in them, noting how kind everyone from the Abel family has been. So, she trusts Sieg as well. The boy thanks her for her faith. Willie requests Sarah to sign the contract in blood. If she breaks it, the consequences are dire, but Nikolai doesn't need to know that. The girl agrees. She mentions her brother also signed a contract without informing her, so she can do the same. Willie chuckles, declaring the negotiation is now finalized. He states he'll be waiting on the other side of the door. They can call him if anything arises. Willie places a hand on Sieg's shoulder, urging his nephew to proceed. Just like they practiced over the past few days, he should be prepared for some repercussions. Hallucinations, illusions, and mental strain may occur, but he must remain calm. He needs to remember his purpose to stay strong. Sieg bids farewell to his uncle. He didn't have much time, but he gave it his all. Now is the moment to put everything into action. Willie wishes them the best of luck. He exits the room. Sieg suggests they start and asks Sarah to offer her hand, but she feels anxious. The boy acknowledges her discomfort with being exposed, but insists it's necessary for the treatment. Sarah gets it. She extends her hand toward Sieg. He's taken aback by the dark marks on her skin. Sieg reassures her that both she and her brother can definitely recover. He promises to assist them in finding their way back. Sieg grasps Sarah's hand and initiates the curse absorption. He must envision himself, taking in the darkness and expelling it. If he can hold on to that focus, Sarah can be saved. Out of nowhere, a sinister voice taunts Sieg, claiming he can't save Sarah since he was the one who killed their mother. Sieg spots his brother's silhouette looming behind Sarah. Gelt glares at him, his eyes burning with rage. He declares that no matter how unique Sieg's abilities are, a weakling like him will never master them. That power would be better off in someone else's grasp. Gelt now seeks to obliterate him and seize his power, claiming he could wield it far more effectively. Gelt's shadow tightens around Sieg's neck, vowing to strip everything away from him. Sieg tries to rationalize it as a mere illusion, but the sensation is too real. He notices Sarah shaking. She's frightened as well. The curse absorption is excruciating, and she must be terrified, uncertain if healing will truly come. Yet Sarah has faith in him and is giving it her all. He can't waver. Gelt embodies his fears, and losing is not an option. In this moment, he's channeling magic to save Sarah. Even if he's inexperienced and clumsy, it's his responsibility. Sieg refuses to relive the past. This time, he's resolute. This time, he will rush forward. He must save that important person. A beam of light strikes Gelt's shadow. A tremendous explosion follows. Then, everything settles into clarity and calm. Sarah is left in awe. Curious, she asks what just happened. With a smile, Sieg replies that it's over. She's healed. Now everything will be all right. Outside, time ticks by. Nikolai is anxious, worried about his sister. Theo reaches out to him. He mentions he has something to return. It's the flowers Nikolai intended for Sarah. It's best if he presents them to her himself. Nikolai remains uneasy, but Theo reassures him that Sarah will be fine. Nikolai nervously accepts the flower vase. Then, he hears the door creak open. He calls out for his sister. Sarah steps out, fully healed, calling for her brother. Nikolai is left speechless, seeing her well again. Overjoyed, she exclaims that the blisters on her face and arm have vanished. She inquires about the purpose of the flowers. Nikolai explains he got them for her. Sarah beams, saying they're her favorites. With a bright smile, she expresses her happiness. Nikolai feels emotional. He agrees with her and tears up with joy. At the sight of her wellness, he expresses his overwhelming happiness. Then he embraces his sister, now healthy. Sieg peers through the door's gap. His uncle suggests they allow some time. This moment is incredibly significant for both. Sarah's treatment has just started, but if things go smoothly, she could become a strong ally for Nikolai. Sieg nods in agreement, prompting his uncle to check on his well-being. Having used a lot of magic, he might face serious repercussions. Sieg reassures him that he's handling it well for now. This time, he didn't shy away from Gelt. If he encounters his brother again in the future, he'll confront him directly. Willie states that the vassal issue is settled. He purchased a mansion, leaving only the formal ceremony to complete. Diana's magic cancellation stone has been fixed, so he can return it to her shortly. With a smile, he tells Sieg he has something crucial to discuss with him and Diana. Sieg looks puzzled. At the residence of Princess Diana and her entourage, she reattaches her magic stone, concealing her ears and tail. Emma feels overwhelmed with emotion that it actually worked. Diana expresses gratitude to Willie for his assistance, but he insists there's no need for thanks. With everything set, he can invite Princess Diana to his naming ceremony. The girl is puzzled by the invitation, and he mentions that he even asked Sieg to join him for the discussion. Diana glances at Sieg, but he claims he knows nothing about it. Willie reveals that the proposal he has in mind is vital for Diana's protection. Thus, he asks Sieg if he would think about marrying her. The boy is utterly taken aback by this. At Willie's ceremony, whispers circulate about the engagement between Sieg and Diana. Willie makes his entrance. Accompanied by the entire Abel family, everyone is present. Serious expressions abound, and the crowd murmurs incessantly. Princess Diana beams. Sieg thinks she appears stunning and notices she isn't intimidated by anyone present. Despite that, all eyes are on her. The boy feels a pang of guilt standing next to her, yet he refuses to feel intimidated. From this moment on, he is now Diana's husband. Earlier, Sieg was baffled by his uncle's proposal. Willie reassured him not to be upset. It would be a sham engagement. The Abel family wants them to feign an engagement to safeguard Diana, who is being pursued. If this is about Estonia's succession, Prince Tobias should withdraw. If Diana marries elsewhere, she forfeits her claim to the throne. Willie intends to announce their engagement during his naming ceremony. Sieg reflects that things are escalating unexpectedly. Even if it's for their safety, marriage is a significant commitment. He wonders if Diane genuinely supports the idea. The princess states she understands and agrees to the engagement with Sieg, but if suddenly becoming her husband is overwhelming for Sieg, she won't push him. The boy quickly clarifies that it's not like that. He doesn't mind this arrangement to protect a dear friend, so he consents to the sham engagement. Diana is touched that Sieg values her so highly. Sieg reflects that he was frustrated when he first learned of the fake marriage, but he'll do anything to safeguard Diana. Willie claims he anticipated their agreement, so he's already informed everyone about the engagement. They should mostly act naturally. Diana calls Sieg. She checks if he's feeling all right. The boy replies that he is. Then he apologizes for complicating matters. He'll strive to avoid causing any issues. But Diana reassures him that it's not a hassle, and she's perfectly fine. During the ceremony, Gilbert mingles with the attendees. Nikolai inquires if Theo can remove that jacket. Theo declines, insisting he should dress appropriately. Nikolai grumbles that the outfit doesn't suit him. Theo insists he looks good in it. Frau, brimming with excitement, hugs Maria and tells her she looks stunning. Maria returns the compliment about her dress. Maria wonders if she's a friend of Willie's, and Frau introduces herself, mentioning she's heard much about Maria. In truth, she's been watching over Maria since childhood, but that's a secret. Frau reveals that she assisted Willie when Sieg was imprisoned in the dungeon. Now she's been invited to the ceremony. Maria expresses her gratitude for the support. Frau mentions she reached out to Willie through telepathy, informing Gilbert and the others about the dungeon's situation. She put in a lot of effort. Maria is utterly baffled by this telepathy talk. Frau quickly tries to downplay it, as telepathy is a means of communication exclusive to spirits. Will he place a bracelet on Haku? The tiger bounds out, thrilled with his new bracelet and cape. He looks just as dashing as everyone else. Willie explains that the magical bracelet acts as a charm, protecting Haku from ill-intentioned individuals. The tiger rushes to admire himself, declaring he looks fantastic. Sieg comments that Haku looks impressive and thanks Willie. Someone approaches, asking if he is seen. It's his Aunt Louise and his grandfather, Hebert. Sieg recalls that the last time he saw them, he was just a baby. This marks their first genuine conversation. The boy greets them. Louisa remarks on how young he is, yet very mature. She then mentions she's heard of his remarkable magical talents and would love to witness them someday. Hebert glances at Diana, stating she must be his fiancée. The princess greets him, introducing herself as the third princess of Estonia. She then apologizes for the trouble caused by the rebellion in her homeland. Haber requests the girl to lift her head. They've already heard about the events in the dungeon. Louise assures her they never doubted her. Even if it wasn't their choice, she shouldn't bow her head. Diana expresses her gratitude, promising to remember their kindness. Gilbert asks his father if Gelt won't be attending. Haber replies that he sent a letter but received no reply. Gilbert adds that he too sent multiple letters, yet never got a response. Louise becomes upset that the magic school still confines Gelt there. Even when Leah was alive, they wouldn't allow Gelt to see his parents. Hebert states that this time is different. It was Gelt's choice. He mentioned that after returning to school post Leah's funeral, he vowed never to come home again. Gilbert looks down, acknowledging he understands. Theo mentions that when he and his sister were there, they also didn't see Gelt. Even with magic to search for him, special students like him are kept apart. Willie remarks that this is the reality of the magic school. They conceal their secrets. Someone approaches, lamenting that unfortunately, those with magical abilities are summoned to serve the magic school. Even Sieg will have to answer the call when he comes of age, so they should investigate the school before that time. Siegest is startled to see Prince Julius and kneels to greet him. However, the prince tells the boy not to be so formal. He has already heard about him from Willie. Julius gazes at Sieg for a few moments. The boy wonders why he's being scrutinized like that. He's uncertain if the prince knows something about him. Julius finds amusement in how Sieg's expression shifts just from being stared at. Willie asks him not to tease his nephew. The prince advises that it's best to avoid discussing the Magic Academy in public. Now that the king has arrived, they should maintain appearances. Willie sighs, instructing them to prepare. Excited, Julia exclaims, "That's a good response," and tells them to get ready for the ceremony. Sieg observes that even after the incident, everyone still cares about Gelt. He wonders what truly happens to him at the Magic Academy. In front of the crowd, the king bestows the title of Count upon Willie Abel. He must continue to wield his power for the benefit of Magesta and its citizens. Kneeline Willie acknowledges this and graciously accepts the honor. Later, a ball took place, where Willie danced with Frau. Sieg takes in the lively scene. It dawns on him. The Abel family is of royal lineage. He aspires to fit in with the family, yet he's clueless about formal gatherings. Diana approaches Sieg. She asks him to join her for a dance. This occasion also serves to introduce them. A public dance might aid that. Sieg admits he's not a dancer and fears he might embarrass her. Diana reassures him. It's all right, they're just kids, and she's accustomed to these events. With a smile, Diana reminds him that he rescued her from the dungeon, so now it's her chance to assist him. Surprised, Sieg nods in agreement. He offers his hand, asking if she would care to dance. She beams, saying it would be her pleasure. They clasp hands. Diana tugs Sieg, who is taken aback. She guides him to the ballroom center, and then she leads him into the rhythm of the dance. All eyes are on them, filled with anticipation. Diana comments that Sieg is actually dancing quite well. He counters that he only knows the basics. The princess advises him to maintain a straight, confident posture. He looks dashing today. Feeling anxious, Sieg thanks her and adds that she looks stunning in that dress as well. He begins to say something else. He muses that if she were in her usual form, she'd appear even more beautiful. Sieg suggests that might be because he saw her in the dungeon. Her true self feels more like the DIA he recognizes. With a smile, Sieg expresses his fondness for that. Nervously, the girl falters in the dance. She stumbles, but Sieg catches her mid-fall. Diana apologizes, and Sieg chuckles, saying that's the Dia he knows. This eases his tension. Diana confesses she believed everyone disliked her true form all this time. Sieg replies that he previously told her he doesn't mind her appearance. The real Diana is simply who she is, and that's her finest version. Sieg's words touch the princess. They keep dancing, and she expresses her gratitude for his kindness. The guests observe their dance, finding them adorable. They appear to be of similar age. Many assumed she was older due to the serious allegations. They start to conclude that such a child couldn't possibly rebel, likely a fabrication from Prince Tobias. The guests agree that Seg and Diana make a charming pair. Willie watches the scene unfold, feeling pleased. Later, he chats with his brother and Julius. Willie mentions he finally feels unburdened. Julius must be pleased. The prince acknowledges Willie did exceptionally well. He's even lined up some tasks for the new count, but they should hold off until the Estonia deal is settled. Willie grumbles about Julius's lack of mercy. Willie insists he kept his end of the bargain, and now the prince must fulfill his obligations with Estonia. Julius agrees. He reveals that Estonia responded to his letter, inviting Diana and the others for a face-to-face discussion. However, it comes with certain stipulations. Willie is puzzled by these stipulations. The stipulation is that the Abel family must take part in the upcoming martial arts tournament. That's Estonia's condition for negotiations. Gilbert finds the requirement odd. Julia explains that the festival holds deep significance for the Abel family. The man concurs, noting that the festival is a cherished tradition. It's customary for Abel heirs to showcase their magical abilities to other nations. Albert was meant to participate this time, but they opted out due to Estonia's current predicament. Willie notes that many nations chose not to join for the same reason. Julia acknowledges it's a clear rationale, but despite his disappointment, he wanted to bring a trusted ally along. Willie grins, saying he seems anxious. It's been a while since Albert became a guard, and he never imagined the prince would make friends. Gilbert states that if that's the case, he'll join in. Gilbert declares that if that's how it is, he's in. Willie feels perplexed, prompting Gilbert to clarify that he was the one who proposed safeguarding Diana. Additionally, he has already taken part in that festival and should be prepared to confront Prince Tobias. Someone interjects, claiming that won't be needed. It's Albert. He mentions overhearing their discussion and expresses his desire to enter the tournament. Willie finds it odd to see Albert taking such initiative. However, Albert insists it's for a noble cause. He aims to protect his younger brother's fiancée. Albert points out how close Diana and Sieg have grown, and their bond inspired him. Until now, he had remained hidden with their father, but he now wants to step up and secure the family's future. Willie reminds him that the engagement is a sham. Julius warns Albert that anything can happen in those tournaments. His life could be at risk. Yet Albert is resolute. He declares he will participate regardless. Family members must protect their treasures. Julius exhales deeply, acknowledging Albert's determination and deciding not to hinder him. The prince informs Gilbert that he wishes for him to remain in Mangesta in case further issues arise. Gilbert agrees to let Albert handle the tournament. With a smile, Albert asserts that as the able heir, he will secure victory. At Diana's home, people gather around the table. Willie explains that once Prince Julius is prepared, they will head to Estenia. Diana states that the moment has finally arrived. They must process this together. Willie expresses his desire to review the action plan with the Count, but first, he intends to annul the contract he established with Diana in the dungeon. A magical contract with a family member, even in a fake engagement, feels unnatural. Still, despite trusting Emma and Pascal, they will need to draft a contract themselves. Both agree to this. Diana requests Willie to also nullify Sieg's contract, otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Willie reassures her, stating he merely pretended to create a contract with Sieg. He only made it appear as if there was one, knowing he couldn't actually do that. There was no way he would allow SIG to enter such a perilous contract. Sieg admits that's something he dislikes about his uncle. Then Willie instructs them to organize and devise a solid strategy. Pascal mentions that his son, Elmont, will demonstrate his capabilities. He acted swiftly during the crisis in Estonia, managing it with minimal damage, which led to his innocence in the rebellion. His son governs a territory near the border and has reliable personnel, so collaboration won't raise suspicions. He will also be accompanied by the second princess, Juliana. They are invited to stay at his residence, ensuring trustworthy company. In the Kingdom of Estonia, they will be welcomed. The only issue is Prince Tobias. It appears he hasn't altered his stance even after Diana's engagement. After all, Diana's claim to the succession is rather low. Pascal concurs. The first in line for the throne is Prince Matthias, but he's just 13, very young. Next is the illegitimate son, Prince Tobias. Before Matthias was born, he was groomed as the heir. Third in line is the second prince, Elias. But as another illegitimate child, he shows no interest in the throne and rarely visits the palace. The first princess is wed to a count. Princess Diana ranks fourth in line. The queen's second daughter, Juliana, is fifth, also an illegitimate child. Despite this, Juliana has taken charge of the kingdom's administration in recent years. She has won the people's affection, earning the title of the Princess of Charity. She is the one who should ascend. So Prince Matthias is expected to take the throne, but Tobias aims to outmaneuver him. While Juliana is the most established, these three are vying for power. Sieg observes that in this scenario, Diana is irrelevant. She wonders if all this turmoil stems from her true nature being exposed. Willie acknowledges this. The royal family of Estonia is notorious for their disdain towards non-human beings. Then Pascal makes a peculiar expression, as if he has an inkling about what's unfolding. Diana urges him to speak up if he knows something. Pascal admits he was prepared to take that secret to his grave. These circumstances are truly unique. As mentioned, Estonia's royal lineage traces back to a divine beast guardian, leading to ties with demi-humans. However, about 5 centuries ago, the royal family grew hostile towards these beings, viewing them as inferior. Since that time, literature on divine beasts has been prohibited, and the royal family concealed their heritage, with one notable exception. Willie is perplexed by this revelation. Pascal explains that any royal family member with those ancestral traits is fated to ascend the throne. Sieg and Willie are left in disbelief. Diana is taken aback. She never imagined she could become queen. The man clarifies that this exception cannot be altered through marriage or similar means. It's a secret passed down, even from the heirs. That's why, upon Diana's birth, the king provided her with a magical suppression artifact and kept her hidden. She was only permitted to leave the palace for ceremonies and special occasions. Yet, it appears Tobias somehow uncovered the truth. Willie nods, understanding. If she's the rightful heir, it makes sense he'd become fixated on her. The royal family possesses demi-human blood, but many find the idea of a demi-human on the throne unacceptable. Diana questions why it matters so much for someone like her to rule. Pascal admits he too was curious and sifted through numerous texts. The exception has always been part of the prophecy. The heir with that power heralds a sign of calamity. Only one who resembles them can confront the disaster. Diana ponders if it's both a curse and a blessing wrapped in one. Pascal asserts it means she alone can avert the disaster. Individuals like Diana must take the throne to shield the populace from calamity. Willie inquires if the incident was genuinely that catastrophic, and Pascal admits they're uncertain, but it could be. Diana nervously states she lacks the power to confront such a disaster. She can't even manage magic. No special protection feels present. Diana wonders what she can accomplish in her current state. As Pascal apologizes, he acknowledges that revealing this would cause her distress, but Diana expresses gratitude for his honesty. It's crucial information. Tears well up in her eyes as she apologizes for her inability to cope with this revelation. With his head down, Pascal offers his apologies. Willie exhales deeply, saying it's understandable, given the ambiguity. Who would know how to respond? He wonders why the wild gods provided such unclear guidance. Sieg asks if Willie said something, but he shakes his head. He then suggests to Pascal that Diana might need some time to gather herself. They should conclude the discussion here. Willie requests Pascal to go over the specifics with him in another location. Sieg observes Princess Diana noticing her distress. She genuinely appears troubled, and the boy empathizes with her feelings. Thinking about the treasure makes him anxious as well. The protagonist wonders if there's anything he can do to assist her. Time moves on, far from this place. At the Magic Academy in Mangusta, a figure stands in a corridor. Another person enters, questioning if he intends to destroy it, assuming it was used for failed experiments, especially his own failed attempts. The boy requests not to be disturbed at that moment, but the person insists the Empire wishes to see him. They require his magical abilities to activate the device in Estonia. The Empire was displeased with its final form's creation. That was unexpected. The person didn't anticipate he'd agree to assist with that experiment. Then, the person inquires about his true intentions regarding the experiment. No one ever truly understands his thoughts. Regardless, she states she has delivered the message. Thus, she's returning to her office. Meanwhile, he should make haste to Estonia. The boy contemplates what he truly desires. Gelt is consumed by fury, declaring there's only one thing he seeks. At the Abel family annex, Princess Diana is engrossed in reading. Even within the Abel family library, there's no mention of Estonia's legends. Yet doing nothing only heightens her anxiety. The unique exception that could crown her queen exists to prevent disasters. If that event foreshadows the disaster, what does her existence signify? If the disaster unfolds as foretold and she remains inactive, Diana feels uneasy about the entire situation. She ponders what it means to possess the power to avert disasters and her role in it. Emma secretly listens to Diana from behind the door. Concerned, Sig calls out. He's anxious and inquires about Diana's condition. Emma responds that since she heard that tale, Diana has been quite down. Even her attempts to uplift her were met with withdrawal. Sieg reflects on his own failed attempts to reach her. Days have passed without success. She keeps everything bottled up, not even confiding in Emma, who has been there all along. Sieg wishes he knew how to address her insecurities. Sadly, Emma expresses her desire to assist the princess, but feels lost. Sieg notices her worry as well. Diana welcomed her as a maid and was always gentle despite Emma's many blunders. For someone who has faced rejection and abandonment, Diana is her first true refuge. Emma starts to cry, lamenting her inability to alleviate Diana's pain. She feels worthless. Sieg tries to console her, insisting she's incredible. The woman grumbles that her only skill is cooking. Sieg counters that her meals are delightful. After their break in the dungeon, it was Emma's cooking that brought joy to the table. Then, an idea strikes Sieg. He mentions wanting to prepare something special for Diana and asks if Emma would like to assist. It's a task only she can handle. Later, Emma takes Diana outside. Diana inquires about what's happening, and Emma assures her they're almost there. Then she invites Diana to enter a space. The princess gasps at the sight. A table in the backyard laden with food, and Sieg awaits her. Diana asks what this is all about. The boy explains he thought a tea party would be a nice idea. Emma prepared all the treats. Emma recalls everything Diana enjoys and worked hard to create delicious offerings. Even if just a little, she hopes to lift Diana's spirits. Sieg mentions he also wanted to speak with Diana but struggled to find the right moment. So, he and Emma organized this tea party. He remembers how she felt better after indulging in sweets in the dungeon. Diana gazes at Sieg in silence. He urges her to sit before the tea cools. She agrees. She sniffs the drink and comments on its wonderful aroma. The protagonist asks if she's feeling a bit more at ease, and the girl nods. She smiles, recalling the sweets Emma used to make for her at the palace. Though she wasn't free, there were good days. Now all of that feels incredibly nostalgic. From inside, Pascal observes them through the window. Sieg notes it's understandable she felt confused after being suddenly tasked with a mission. Diana admits it's embarrassing. In such moments, she needs to stay strong, but negative thoughts keep surfacing. She also made Pascal feel accountable. With her hands around the cup, she expresses feeling pathetic and sorrowful for being ineffective. But the uncertainty of what to do troubles her the most. Sieg smiles, saying they share similarities. The girl looks puzzled, prompting him to ask if she recalls when he spoke about the Abel family's treasure. Afterward, someone revealed the treasure's secret, which exceeded his wildest dreams. The weight he must bear affects everyone around him. Yet, he remains unsure how to confront it. He still doesn't know. That's why he empathizes with Diana's feelings. The princess meets his gaze, and Sieg states that despite everything, he chose to shoulder that burden. He does it for those he wishes to protect. Moreover, many people stand by him, and he fears losing them. They are invaluable to him. So regardless of the challenges, he's resolved to confront everything head-on and strive to grow stronger. He claims that giving up now would break him. He believes he possesses the strength to do whatever is necessary. Sieg mentions he also thinks Diana has that strength. She has the compassion required to rise and rescue her friends. Strength isn't borrowed from others. Even if she hasn't grasped her power yet, it will come. If disaster strikes and it's too overwhelming for him to handle alone, then he plans to stand by her side. Sieg wants her to remember that many people wish to protect her. He's already reassured her. It's perfectly fine to lean on others. Emma promises that regardless of what occurs, she will always be there for her, and Pascal will too. Diana bows her head, absorbing everything. She admits she was wrong to think she could face the calamity alone. That's not the case. She has Sieg, Emma, and Pascal by her side. Just like in the dungeon, she can overcome this. So she needs to clear her thoughts. Diana rises and states, there's something Emma can assist her with. She turns to Sieg and requests a moment. The two step out. After some time, Diana comes back and apologizes for keeping Sieg waiting. He notices she's donned the dress from the ball. Diana expresses she truly wanted to show herself like that, just as he said he liked. The girl deactivates her magical concealment stone in front of Sieg. He is taken aback by her appearance. Diana explains her disdain for that look. She always feared the cancellation magic would fade, revealing her ears and tail. She would gaze at her reflection with trepidation. However, after meeting Sieg, she felt she could embrace that look. One day, she wants to tell everyone this is her true self and acknowledge those who supported her. That's why she's determined to confront Estonia, to face her brother and herself. She believes she has the necessary strength to achieve it. Sieg agrees, affirming his belief in her as well. Diana beams with satisfaction. Sieg chuckles, noting that the dress looks even more stunning than he imagined. Emma tidies up the tea table. Pascal approaches her, offering to help. He states that if everyone is pitching in with the dishes, he should join in too. Joyful, Pascal remarks that Diana is smiling. It seems meeting Sieg was the best thing for her. Excited, Emma agrees it truly appears that way. Then Emma mentions there's something Diana entrusted to her. She asked Emma to share the sweets from the tea party with Pascal. She also told her to reassure him that he needn't worry anymore. She wants him to feel relaxed. But Pascal replies that if he caused her that much worry, he must really be aging. Diana is a strong individual and they cannot afford to lose her. No matter what happens, he will safeguard her. Time flows on. Albert practices with his sword, preparing for the upcoming battle. Meanwhile, Theo and Nikolai are instructing Sierra, who is improving steadily. Gilbert continues with his political responsibilities, while Haku seizes the chance to catch up on sleep. Sieg and Diana collaborate to plan their next moves. On the day they depart for Estonia, they assemble in front of Mendesta's royal capital. Sieg is astonished, asking his uncle if that's a new form of teleportation. Before him stands a colossal stone, and he confirms it's finally finished. They will use it to travel to Istanbul, presenting it to the royal family.